Hold on right with you. All
Somebody's coming
right.
on?
No, no.
Oh, okay.
Now we live. Now we
Now we
live.
live.
Now
Okay,
we live. Now
fantastic.
we live. So,
Okay.
welcome, well, everybody. Welcome to
Yeah.
what is this? The Bantu TV podcast every Sunday. We normally do it at 2 o'clock, but we're not even gonna go. Why we're at 3 o'clock live today? But we appreciate you guys, everybody. Just coming on this late hour, and we have a lot to talk about. So, back to Lucia. How about you come in?
Sure, sure. I mean, thank you everybody for joining us. What a wonderful week it's been with a lot of activities. We'd like to thank everybody that's participating today. Our former PS, Bachanda Kazia, is here to discuss. And, we welcome you to this podcast. Like we always say, we invite everybody. It doesn't matter who you are, what you believe in or what party you come from or your beliefs. As long as we the main point is to discuss, the Zambian interests, economy, and everything that interests us here in the diaspora, and contribute. However we can. At the end of the day, we're all Zambians, and of course, our big man, Danny. We also thank you very much for taking time out of your busy schedule to join us today, so that we can discuss these issues and see how we go. So yeah, thank you everybody. My name is Chanda Chilufia. I'm obviously coming live from Ontario, Canada. I'd like everybody else to, introduce themselves. Maybe but Dan, you can go first, and then Mashina Wakazia can also introduce himself, and then we go from there.
All right. My name is Danny Akakuluwe Wadiswaniso. Coming to you. We are neighbors from Ontario here, Milton, Ontario. Yeah, I just came across this stream through this link for the TV link through my friend Musanja Joseph, who is an MP back home in Zambia. And from that time,
That's my MP actually.
yeah, he's a good friend. We were together in Cambridge with Joseph.
Great.
So that's when
Nice to know.
established that relationship, and from that time we've always been friends. So I'm part of his constituency thing, and when I saw this there, I just got hooked up. I thought it was a good idea to discuss things with my fellow colleagues in that. So I hope to be participating every week, and because I learn a lot from people like Chanda there, from his experience in the government. So yeah, I'm here to stay. Thank you. Yeah. So I guess it's Chanda, it's your turn, I guess.
Oh yeah, fantastic. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's begin the show. Sorry for the breakup transmission, but yeah. So we can begin the show. Of course, we got two major topics that we need to discuss. Of course, we're talking about the debt restructuring and as well as the Mopani deal. Now, as we know, all of us that the debt that has been restructured is a $3.5 billion debt, and just to simplify everything to the Zambian people, we're looking at something that was supposed to be paid, which was due actually. So it was defaulted, it was due. And of course, the president himself had to go run around different countries trying to negotiate these deals and see the best way forward. And good enough that the president and his team, they've come to this point where it has been restructured. And what does it mean for the Zambian people? It simply means that, look, the interests and principles have been extended. Instead of us paying all those things to our creditors, it has now been extended, for a period of time. We won't pay that, and we'll start paying in a different a few years. So, which is a good thing, giving us that headroom. So, when people say, "What is this headroom? What is this python that was choking the Zambian economy?" Me, I think I even call it anaconda. But definitely anaconda. If you watch that movie, it wraps itself around you, and when the time it tries that kuryenomba, the president and his team came and fought that out, and now we're able to breathe. We're able to breathe. And we're able, you come in and put your discourse, Wakalinda.
No. Hold on to your thoughts. You are a host. Let's give the platform to the
Of course,
people
we have
that
to
are
introduce
coming
the
on.
topic. That's what we're doing.
No. But you are starting to get into the nitty-gritties.
Okay, that's not important for now.
Yeah. Just chill. That's what. Let's bring in Banani, Bakazia. You know why I'm saying let's bring in Bakazia? Because Bakazia from his group, from his group, there have been. First of all, we had a group. There's no easy way to explain this. You had a group. Let's bring in Bakazia because of the fact that one was saying no. We started this. First there was this. We started this. Then no. HH can't get this done. Cannot get this done by himself. So Bakazia. And I know you know where I'm going with this.
You're straight to Wafula Globes, eh? Yes, you just.
Yeah. Let's bring it on.
Come on.
Yes.
Don't bring
But go back to first. You let the people come in nicely.
No. Don't give
straight
people.
To the punches.
Don't give people an ice cream, vanilla ice cream. Hey, no. Bakazia.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, Bakazia. You come on in because your people are saying no. He can't do it by himself. And now all of a sudden, no, PF started it. Mr. Kazia, come on here and explain what your group is all about on this state restructuring deal is.
I like the way you say you group things like that. Yeah, it's a group that I work with very, very well. And you see, first of all, debt restructuring, achieving it is a good thing. That is, I think, that shouldn't be downplayed. It's a good thing, But then there are other nitty-gritties. What is making the group get skeptical about a few things? Number one is that you see, the president announces it. When the president announces it, then the same deal is now on London Stock Exchange. So most of the conversation, I think, from my end, started when I saw a statement on the London Stock Exchange and the conditionalities that were in those 5 prints. So the questions started: has the deal actually been done? If the deal has been done, why is it that we have these italics which are making things subject to the deal, legality subject to this? Now, from my little understanding in employment and the other government systems that have seen deals signed, when something is subjected to something, it means there is some other level of discussions that must happen. And depending on the outcome of this second level of discussion, it can affect the main deal that has been signed. So the question was that if there are issues that are subject to 1, 2, 3 things, how do we conclusively say the deal is now signed and we are happy about it? Yes, the bigger deal is okay, is happy, it is like setting the parameters. This is what we're going to do. But then, what are the fine prints? What are the devils in those details?
Okay, I want to come in.
All right, but PS, that's how I'm gonna moving on forward.
Yes.
That's how I'm gonna. That's why I'm gonna call you. Forget whoever is going to say, hey, he's no longer a PS, but to me, more like PS, like I say. So hold that thought. How about we bring in this Loziman also?
Yes.
Mr. Danny.
I want to talk.
Come on in. Come on, Mr. Danny.
First of all,
Dr. Danny.
Me and Kazia have talked about this issue for more than maybe 10 hours.
Mm-hmm.
The past 1 week or 2 weeks, we've been talking about this debt restructuring for hours and hours. The only question I want to ask my friend Kazia is this. Why has London Stock Exchange become an authority in the deal we are dealing with our creditors? All of a sudden, people are talking about London Stock Exchange. London Stock Exchange should not even come. We are not looking. Those documents are there. It's a stock exchange. We received a letter, a document from our creditors, OCC.
Mm-hmm.
That's the one we are reading. But all of a sudden, these ACA, whatever they call themselves, they are now talking about a document produced by, I don't want to use the word, an institution which has nothing to do with our debt. They wake up in the morning and write these things on their own, on their website, London Stock Exchange, and now we want the whole country to shift attention to this institution that has written a publication on their website. Those have nothing to do with our debt. We don't even know the people running London Stock Exchange. They have nothing to do with our debt. We are respecting the document we signed with our creditors. That's it. That's what I have to say.
Okay. Maybe the question.
Rapiers now coming back here.
Yeah, the question that he has asked: why London Stock Exchange now in the hours of, you see, they have not been on the landscape of the Zambian, politics and the Zambian economy. They have not been on the landscape. How come all of a sudden they want to be an authority? Now, my understanding is that the London Stock Exchange is where the investors are. The credibility of the London Stock Exchange to the investors is very cardinal global. And that is why you find that they become interested in investments across the world. That's why if you go on the London Stock Exchange and you want to find out about any country, you would find that that's an investors forum. Mostly it is people that are looking out for investment that are going to go there to get the actual information that is happening. Now, two things can happen. We can either completely rule them out and they say they don't matter, they come at a late hour, they don't mean well to the country, they are trying to distract us. It might be at our own peril if we do that. Once information like that comes, in my opinion, it's an information that you put back the technocrats, put them together, and let me have an assessment under the position. If they are raising critical questions there, are they being answered from our Minister of Finance? If they're not answered, yes, we can say, oh, they don't mind, you throw them away. But trust me, investors go there to check the information. So, my friend Dan is right. He can say, yes, you are not there, they're not there, we're just going to run with the documents that we have. But then it doesn't still answer the questions. If something is subject to that, does it just go away because they've said, oh, we don't care about them? Now, what if what the London Stock Exchange is saying is correct? If they are wrong, we take them off, we throw them away. We hear them, but we cannot do anything about it. But if they are correct, and the questions that are raised on the data structure requires our country's intervention and the critical analysis, then the critical analysis must be put. A government position can even be put in terms of what they can do to London Stock Exchange, New York Stock Exchange, Shanghai, and every credible stock exchange markets that are there. So, in my opinion, what the London Stock Exchange is saying needs to be looked at by government, by our government. It requires to be looked at.
P.S. Kazila. P.S. Kazila. Let me come in here and ask you this question. For me, really, I look at the history that's been going on in terms of announcements. First of all, there was announcements about the, first of all, you know what we forgot to do is really explain what this debt relief is about and what categories that it falls under, because we started off with the pronouncement on the bilateral, which is state to state, government to government, however you want to put that in. There was that pronouncement first before finally we got signatories added on there after the announcement was made about the agreement, and then there was an announcement on actually now signatories being added on to that, which that bilateral agreement was worth how much? 3.5, 3.4 billion. I could be wrong. I'm not an accountant or financial expert, but that's what was announced to us. Then, now the latest one is on this one, which is on the private lenders, Zambian terms. I would put it. I could be wrong. You guys are the experts. Now, private lenders, it's like me going to Bachilufia's uncle's Kantemba, asking for this amount of money, and Bachilufia's uncle's Kantemba agreeing to that, and then I renegade on that payment, and here we are. Now that agreement was worth how much? Because we have to break it down to the people on the streets, to the people that are selling. If you tumbua, if you kubala on city market or Simon Wear. That's where we need to go, because these are the people that need to understand. Of
course, Bakalinda, that's what I started explaining when we first started the topic. I was trying to put it in simple terms.
So you and I, we have no right to be. We need to. I'm an expert. That's
no, we're all experts. We're all Zambians at the end of the day.
All right, go ahead.
At the end of the day, what we're saying is there are two things here. We're looking at, the multilateral and bilateral. Maybe that's what you're talking about. So we have two types of debts: a bilateral and multilateral. So bilateral, of course, we know it's country to country. The multilateral, of course, we have all these other, including AMA Private and everybody else and all that kind. So if those agreements have reached that table, what does it mean? What's the impact? Kuliba Mayoko market. What is she going to understand about this, and what are the advantages? So, just put in simple terms, Filia in Congolese as a Zambian country. We needed a breathing space for us to pay that, because there's no way we could have paid it at one shot. It was impossible. If that was going to happen, then it meant there would not be any more employment freeze. Loans, what you call bursaries, university students. There would not be any free education. So, because of this issue, nomba in Congolese afumamo, what they call a headroom, what breathing space. Now the current government can do all these projects without being choked by what they. That's why the president he calls it. We were wrapped up with a snake. It was choking us as a country. So these are the issues why you can understand that loans market because we have enough money. The country has enough disposable money available for everybody now. Loans, grants, free education, more employment. I mean, it actually gives us that kind of economy that we need to. But the big thing we need to look at is this: what, in the meantime, what are we going to do so that we're able to repay that in the net? What investments are we going to put in that money that we have now so that we're able to repay it without problems in the next coming generation?
There is something that, for me, if we get the headroom as it is referred to mostly. But when I look at the expenditure side of things from our government right now, we have put so much pressure on the government treasury. So much. You see, when you invest in social sectors, you are not going to produce anything. It's consumptive. So the headroom that we've been given is going to go into consumption. It's not going to go into production. If you employ more teachers, you employ more nurses and others, what you should understand is that that is public service. You are going to still consume more in terms of what you're going to pay for the salaries, what you're going to pay for NAPSA, what you're going to pay for all those other duty facilitating allowances that these people will be having. So you tend to start to choke yourselves up. What have you done to broaden your tax base? Has the tax base been increasing with this kind of legroom that we have? Yes. We have headroom, yes, we have it. But do we have the money? When we look at the public expenditure that we are having right now, and the most free things that we are putting up, of course, it's good to make people feel very well about the free things that we are giving out. Oh, we are going to have free education, we're going to have free health, we're going to have free social protection, social security that is given, free social cash transfer, we're going to give. So you are creating all that base. But against which revenue side are we getting this money?
No, but Kazia, you know, what you've brought up is good. It's a good question. But what we need to understand is this. You know, the breathing space. What? Okay, let me ask you this: what was going to be better without us being given a headroom, or with us having that debt?
No, definitely.
So I mean, because you're looking at two things here. We're being given this headroom instead of us paying that money that the current, well, the last government defaulted. Okay, we all know they defaulted, and they are the ones that actually made us to be in this situation. The president has worked hard to go and negotiate with these creditors to say, guys, and then that time has been given now. Now you're saying that no, that's not good because will just be the money will go to consumption. No, it won't be all going into consumption. Of course, it will go into a lot of other investment projects and programs.
Okay,
we're already seeing it.
Okay, go ahead.
We're already seeing. I think that will be the next topic anyway. We don't even want to go there because we'll go to the next topic, which is the investments. Confidence coming from the investors, they're now coming in to come to start investing with and partnering with the country. So these are the issues that we need to look at seriously, because how is somebody okay, and then I come up with a business proposal? How is somebody going to partner with me? They're going to say, no matter how good or brilliant the idea is, I won't be able to discuss business with you because
maybe in terms of
but Chilufia, before you go toe to toe with our peers, we do have a new entrant here. His name is Hamutete Simonyama. Mr. Simonyama, go ahead, introduce yourself. The discussion this evening is on the debt restructuring. Come in, please.
Good evening, everyone. I'm just here to listen to the discussions. Really, I looked at the topic and see who is there, so I would like to just hear what is being
the volume is too low.
I can't hear you. Thank you.
Mr. Simonyama, our resident PS is saying the volume is low. You may want to speak up a little bit.
Is it?
Please.
I have everything on full. What I say? Okay, good evening once again.
Good evening.
All right then. Before you two gentlemen who have been going toe on toe in the last 20 minutes, shall we just bring in my precious Lozy man to say a word or two? I know he's been listening and he's itching. I can see his lips moving back and forth. My precious Lozy man, Doc, come in, please.
Yes, my sister. Yeah, as Mr. Chilufia was saying, I think what we need as Zambians to look at is this a better deal, or was it better for us to restructure the debt or leave it the way it was? Because at first, our what are these Uka people, whatever Ukwa people? They were saying, why is the government celebrating? We never used to pay anything from 2020. Remember, they were writing those things. I don't know where what their thinking was, that we never used to pay. Now we start paying. How can somebody say we're going to be better off? Definitely we're going to be better off this time, because instead, I think we were supposed to be paying 700 something every year. Huh? $700 million.
It's $750 million.
Yes, yes, yes,
Yeah.
Now we'll be paying $70 million per year.
yes.
You know, that's a big. So the
So,
difference,
yep.
150 to 70 million. So we'll have some pocket change, a lot of
Of
pocket.
course.
The difference between what we would have been paying and again, if we just followed the PF way of saying we have no money, do whatever you want to do to us. That's why they defaulted. They just ignored the lenders, you know, and then we're gonna have very bad credit. That's why nobody wanted to sit down with the PF government anywhere to because you have defaulted, and how can you sit down and start compromising negotiating for more credits? So that's why it's better for us, for what the president has done. We are definitely going to have some $600 and something million per year to spend on other things in the country. So to me, any meaning Zambian should actually celebrate this, and congratulations to what the government has done. There are no two ways we can look at this other than just saying this is a good thing for our country. Thank you.
Yeah,
thank you very much.
absolutely brilliant submission there from my lovely, handsome Lucy man. Did I say lovely, handsome? Oh, now that's something else. That's another topic for another day. Why I say? Because I just had a couple more questions to ask him. You know that with this debt restructure, I think we also need to tell Zambians that is that Mr. Kazir? Oh,
Yes, I am. I am the one.
Oh yeah, but Mr. Kazir, I got a question for you here. So if we didn't go the route that we went through, and there's that this week it's gone viral again. Your former brother, Mr. What is his name again? He's now with Mr. What is he calling himself now? A doctor? Mumembe, Babembe, the Socialist Party spokesperson now, Mr. Mwanza, he was of the view that first of all, that HH couldn't do it. Now let's just put that aside. I'll set that aside because I could attack from whichever angle there. My question is, so with this debt restructuring that HH has achieved, are we going to get our $5 million back to the consortium that we paid from France to negotiate? Just even saying that, it hurts my soul. That we gave those French people. Are we ever going to get that $5 million back?
I don't think you will get it, because you see, and let me just debunk a few things here. And it's very important that you colleagues understand, especially that probably I was in the thick of things and seeing things right in there.
Exactly. That's why we're happy you're here.
Thank you very much. One of the things you see, people say, "Oh, you brought us to where we are at in terms of credit, in terms of this, you defaulted." Yes. There is quite a few things that were positive about the debt that PF accrued. It wasn't just PF. One thing you have to understand, when PF was coming in power, I was still in government myself, and I was at a very high level when MMD was moving out and PF coming in. There was debt that moved into MMD. MMD found debt. PF found debt from MMD. It was there. And by the way, they had just achieved
just hold on there. When PF came into power, guess what? PF MMD left what is this? A lot of
debt cancellation. Yeah.
Debt cancellation.
Yes.
I mean, at that time, Zambia only owed, which is really, I mean, when you talk about country to country, it's negligible. About $2.5 billion.
Yep. Yep.
And then you guys found $4.5 billion in, excess,
Yes.
money in our coffers.
Yes.
So
Yes.
when we
Now,
talk about this day,
okay,
no. Before you come in Doc, let's
Okay.
just not gloss over
Okay.
2011. Okay, because you guys always want to gloss over what happened in 2011. Because I mean, let me just set it out there here. You guys you had $2.5 billion in whatever money we owed to our lenders. You also had $4.5 billion in excess money in our coffers, and not only that, the kwacha was at $5 to $5 to a kwacha. The fuel was at 9 kwacha to $1, and then the dollar kwacha ratio was $17. So let's not gloss over those facts.
I'm not going to
Okay?
gloss over those.
Yeah, let's not gloss over that.
No. No.
And then let's compare when you left, how much all those things were at. Now you
Yes.
can come in.
That is a brilliant way of analyzing. Thank you very much. You see, the infrastructure development that Zambia had from 2011 to 2021, there was no way it could have been achieved with the financing that we had in Zambia. It was totally impossible. There was no way. Now, in terms of the borrowing actually upscaled from 2 billion to somewhere where it was being left around the $14 billion. But most of the money that was borrowed went into serious infrastructure development. For instance, if you look at the Mongo Kalabo Road, which was started dropped, it global a lot of billions of dollars. That road. If you look at the road network that came into Western Province all the way into Sesheke, if you look at the bridges, if you look at the hydroelectric power stations that were started, if you look at the hospitals, you look at the schools, you look at that, yes, it could have been higher, it could have been probably less, but two things we were lacking, and I should be able to tell you, was the capacity to properly negotiate the issues to do with the debt itself. But in terms of where the debt was placed, Zambia was never the same. We could, yes, speak about that. Oh, you left us in this.
Wakazia, I got a question for you.
If maybe I finish, then you ask.
Okay, all right. Yeah. Go ahead.
So,
go ahead.
So in terms of the debt was procured, but it went into Zambian economy. Now, two things I had the chance to discuss with my colleague Dan. That one of the things which people are talking about to say, oh, certain projects were overpriced. Yes, why were these projects seen to be overpriced? For instance, I can tell you one of the difficulties you have. If you are moving equipment, heavy equipment, you would spend probably $5,000. You move a grader from China or maybe from wherever, Europe, into Webis Bay or into Dar es Salaam. You will pay maybe $10,000 to get that thing from Webis Bay into Lusaka or into Western Province. You will spend another maybe 3 times more before it even does one stretch of a kilometer. One stretch. The costs were astronomical. These guys that came, especially the ones that the Chinese investors that came in, they came through that system and set the infrastructure systems here. They brought their heavy equipment, they brought this. So they started outbidding everybody because the moment they got all their infrastructure, all the machines that they want, all the equipment that they had in Zambia, they started now going less in terms of the cost per kilometer. That happened. But okay, well and good. The whole thing was not supported by the current government. It was a question of, oh, you are extravagant, you are this and this. But I can tell you for a fact that most of the monies that were borrowed went into infrastructure development in places which were hard to reach. So, yes, that happened. Then The economy didn't trick out of that. What happened? There was COVID-19 that actually came in. COVID-19 came and did a lot of damage in terms of the global systems, moving of medicines and others. It's like the economy shut down because of COVID. And there was also issues to do with the same drought which we are experiencing now. There was drought that happened there. There was pressure on the economy. The same kind of pressure that we are seeing right here, right now. When the president has managed to do a few things right, and immediately he has drought. What should we do? What should we say when he has drought? Because that is beyond his capacity. Should we start attacking him? Like you guys, I think, because now you are referring me to the other guys, I'll refer you to you guys. Now you guys go to say, no, it's climate change. At the time, it was poor leadership. I don't want us to go into so much of the politicking and stuff.
No,
like that.
I can see. Okay, so he hit the nail on the head. So you're saying just because Mwalista invest that money into infrastructure, that's your main getaway. You said all that money that was borrowed went into infrastructure, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. That's what you're saying.
You are very, very correct, actually.
Now, wouldn't it have been better for the previous regime to have taken that money into better things like investing into agriculture that has been lacking for several years, and mining, which is the heartbeat of Zambia. Infrastructures were already done by the previous Bakaunda. We already had roads, we already had everything, like everything was there. The infrastructure that Banan Kaniba PF, I don't even like to mention that name, but the previous regime.
You have no choice.
The previous regime, what they did, all we're doing, we don't have touch-ups, but those touch-ups, they came to look like they're trying to build Katuishingani. What kind of, if I can borrow what your other colleague was saying, at New York, at Lusaka is looking like New York. I was like, wow, can Lusaka look like New York? Are you serious?
No, you know how.
So those are things that we need to castigate.
He said Dubai.
Dubai.
New York.
That's good. So they want to talk what to do. But Dubai, can Dubai look like Lusaka? Surely. That's impossible. So anyway, so my point was, look, we should have invested that money in very viable proper investments. We wouldn't be in this situation where we are, where we're crying about Ubungana Abdullah and stuff like that. Now, because of this situation, because of the bad decisions that the previous regime did, we're in this situation.
Can I ask you a question?
Drought here, Isaka. Now, drought, because you see, if the previous regime had followed what Mwanawasa was doing, Mwanawasa, when he went to Saudi Arabia, in fact, when he went to Morocco, when he met with the late Gaddafi, Gaddafi told him, yeah, look, the only secret for food for the people is winter maize. That's what he told him. That's how the winter maize project started. Now, when it started, what did the Patriotic Front do? They didn't carry on that tradition. They didn't carry on that idea. But it's sort of it like, no, that's not important. Now, if they imagine this, if they had carried on Iriana and Ikaneria idea, we wouldn't be crying about Ubungana Abdullah and stuff like that. Now, this current government has started winter maize project. I don't know, Katushinga Mulatamba or Mwanyuzi. I don't know.
Food security was not a problem. And I should tell you that. I'm going to tell you that. Food security was not a problem. Food security was being financed under FISIP and taking into small scale, because the majority of the people in Zambia are not large scale farmers. No, it's food security at household level. That was what was the focus for the PF. The PF focused food at household level, not food for export. What did you guys do? You came and sold the minimum. Everything you sold the maize, the entire stock of maize was sold. And the minister went on the floor of the house and said, we shall never, ever, ever stop selling maize. That was a ban. For food security, you can't go there. Yes, you can talk about projects that were maybe overpriced. I can agree that yes, and the reasons for overpricing. But that should not be taken as to say that no, in terms of food security, it was not there. Do you think people are more hungry than they are right now?
Yes, they are. I mean,
No,
hungry as well. People have always been hungry in Zambia. There's never been a place or a regime, even in the Kaunda era. There was one time there was hunger. Okay, and people what they did was start giving out Toma coupons. So it's always been there. It's always been there. So just on a different scale and different level, Mahmoud. But what we're saying is this: we needed to have learned from the Kaunda era. We learned that, oh, okay, this is the reason, and then we learned from the MMD. Okay, and then from the MMD, what the PF should have done is taken that project. Mamona, no kuitwala kuntanshi. That's what I'm saying. It would have been a better deal. We would have been sitting now on tons and tons and tons and tons of maize.
No, you destroyed that.
Mamona.
The current government destroyed that, and they've learned lessons. That's why they are correcting that. The current government destroyed that. This current government destroyed that household food security level. This is why they are going back in terms of getting the ZNS and other people starting to go into productive cycles.
Winter maize project.
There was no need for winter maize project if you can secure a household project, household food security at household. There was no need for that.
You have to think for the future. How would you know what's going to happen? Invest because
you see, you can control, you can talk about other things, but in terms of food security and in terms of what the PF left as reserves for the country, that you cannot match that. You can't come and sell that. You come and sell your own reserves, and then you come and say, no, the people left us in anger. No, that one doesn't stick because you had a food reserve and you came and sold it. Why did you sell? What was the reason for sale?
Mr. Gazira.
Yes.
Yeah, this is Mr. Kalapa here.
Yes.
If you look at the previous regime, okay, they had this. You come to somebody's house, they say, okay, you're gonna live in this house. Here are the keys. You get into the house, there's no food, all the pots are there. Okay, there's only cooking oil. What are you gonna do? You look around and see what you're gonna eat. That's what happened to the current the UPND now. When they came into power, you had taken everything out. So now it was the wisdom of our leader to start, looking for how can I help my people. He's not putting in his pocket, mind you. If you look at his character, the caliber, PF, they had a rotten fish from the head. But how is our leader now? So you have to put that into context. You guys, I can say maybe your ministers were okay, but your leader was very poor. Economically, he was poor. He had no sense of wisdom whatsoever. All he wanted was to party. So you should bear that in mind too. Okay, we got the country that was already dilapidated. We are trying to fix it. You can't even say, you guys, thank you. I know these are politics, but humanly speaking, he's saving lives. You didn't save lives. You are destroying lives. Bear that in mind. Thank you.
I don't think what you have said is correct. You see, all leaders are elected by people, whether you like them or not. Whether I don't like President HH or not, he was elected there as my president. Whether he told the things that I don't believe in and is there, I have an obligation to respect him and to support what he's doing. But when you come here and say, oh, you guys were destroying lives, what life was destroyed? And I'm giving examples to say, when you were coming into power.
But people, how many people were killed in your regime? How many people were killed?
We can go.
Okay, when you kill somebody, is it not destroying lives? How many people were lining up for benefits? How many people were lining up for benefits? Were you paying people? How many people went without being paid? I have relatives. I have evidence. So don't come here on the media and start trying to polish a thing that cannot be polished. We have to go from being
so let's do this, guys. Ladies and gentlemen, let's do this. Like anybody, like any Steffi, like any. Let's have let's be sober. But here's the thing. There's certain valued points that Wakalapa has asked you, and you can respond, but let's keep it cool. What we want to do is we want to have a conversation as Zambians. At the end of, like I said, at the end of the day, we're all Zambians. And Zambia is what is at heart right now, and we all want the best for the country. And we can all agree. I mean, sometimes, Machina, you may not agree with it, but deep down in your heart, you know that this is the best president that we've ever had.
I don't think. I do not think that.
No, deep down your heart.
No,
you cannot say it, but deep down your heart.
Listen, I will tell you what I think. Because if you ask Danny, me, I'm not one person who knows how to sugarcoat when things are not right or when I don't feel good about something. Number one, like I'm telling my friend, there is no need. There is absolutely no need to start using certain language here, where we say, "Oh, this one has no brain." I don't agree to that because that is like insulting another person who might not even be here. But if you want me to go that route of politics into the extreme, I can do that very easy. You understand?
Okay. So we're not gonna do that, but that's fine. We're not gonna do that because here we don't have our president. We don't have that's beside. Let's put it aside. But let us do this. Why don't we tackle these issues? Looking at it at a broader scale, because they're trying to figure out why the debt restructuring is going to benefit Zambians. Because if I remember correctly, not Imwe. I don't want to label you. I don't want to label you.
Because I was part of government.
Okay. So you want me to label you?
Yeah, you can label me. It's fine.
Okay, fine. So, in PF, what you did was this. When the president came up and said, "Look, I can restructure this debt for you for free." What did your team do? You looked at him at happen, or you? He said it. He came out in the open when he was in the opposition. Because that's what the opposition is supposed to do. The opposition is supposed to give, credit and checks, but you also have to provide solutions. Take over from negative all the time. Like if you look at what the current opposition looks like, they're always in the negative. Even if they can't even clap. They can't even say, "Oh no, this is good." They can't even provide solutions. He said, "Ine, I can able to restructure Zambia's debt." But now he has done it. And then it's because of what we did in the initial stages. You went and paid a different foreign organization money so that they can come and restructure your deal for you when HH was available. Now you can imagine if you had said, "Okay, no. Despite politics, let's look at the nation. Let's look at the Zambian people. What ideas is he going to give us? We will not be in this situation.
Okay, one machine. You are talking about that we went and paid Lazard. So Lazard was terminated when UPND came in power.
What?
Was Lazard the transaction advisors for PF were they terminated when UPND came into power?
No, it was in the PF.
Yes, yeah, it's the PF now. Did that company continue even after UPND came in power?
No, because we had already a team in place. We had HH. We had HH. We had our Minister Bamsokotwane. Brilliant ideas, brilliant minds that can go and sit in certain boardrooms that, sorry to tell you, but your team could not go.
Okay.
So why would you need Lazard?
Do you know that Lazard is part of the transaction advisors even to date on government?
Lazard did what?
The reason why Lazard is still being utilized was because the contract they signed, the money would not be refunded. It's like someone tells you, "Okay, you want to live in this room?" Yes. And then you change your mind. You're not going to stay there anyway. You're going somewhere. But you've already paid the money. Government decided to utilize their services because they've already paid the fine.
To continue with them, isn't it?
Bashimana, the thing was not to continue with them, just to because we have already paid. What was the use
fulfilling the contract?
Yes, but the question is, did you continue with them?
Not at a very critical. We're not using them as much.
My question is simple. Did you continue with them, or the contract was terminated?
How can you terminate a contract? There would be breach of contract and would have been paying penalties now.
Yeah. But let me tell you, they were not even they have not been congratulated in this thing. Why? Because they were basically just on the sideline. They had already paid. I'm telling you, they didn't play a very important role in this thing.
They didn't play an important role.
No.
And they were there, but
we did it on our own. Without them. We didn't need them.
We didn't need the Lazard. Like I was saying, the president himself offered his services.
Yes.
He told you, I can restructure this debt for Zambia for free.
I definitely agree with the president. But to come and continue with Lazard, and then you people here tell me to say, no, we didn't continue with them. They were a small part. No, they are on the documents right now. They are signed as transaction advisors to you guys that are there. Then who are you trying to? Don't twist things. If they are there, they are there. It's okay for government and Zambia. It's okay. The president maybe saw the need this now when they sat down and they say, okay, what capacities lie within Lazard? Do they are people that can be trusted when they now went to briefing? And then he says, okay, let me continue. There's nothing wrong with that. The problem is that when we want to demonize what has been done before, this is one of the reasons why we don't go forward. It's because whatever decision was made, it was not done right. What are we learning from what was done right and correct those that was done wrong? You see, Mamachina and the team that is here, it is important that in every government, you keep what was done right and you discard what was done wrong. But you condemn everything like we're all a bunch of liars, we're all a bunch of thieves, we're all a bunch of incompetent people. It's not going to help Zambia, because that is why the president is not adequately supported. It's because we change attitudes. Imagine the way my friend was talking to me and talking about the president. You guys were all this. Tell me why I should support his ideas instead of now not wanting to punch holes into what he's saying. Because I would say, where is 50 Kwacho Bunga? Where is this? Where is this? I start to now go back and fight so that I can prove a point. That is not the point of the discussion. The discussion is that debt restructuring has happened. What are the lessons from the past which we must avoid? We must avoid 1, 2, 3 more things which PF might have done wrong. But on terms of what they did right, this and that and that, they contracted Lazard. Why was Lazard contracted? It's because we didn't have the capacity to have that international level in terms of understanding and the transactions. So we had also in terms of capacity.
Yes, Vamashina. You're right on that one. We didn't have, at that particular time, we didn't have that level. But we had it in the opposition, which is the UPND government and its team. I tell you one thing, Vamashina. When you go to certain boardrooms, people were requesting, they want to meet with HH and they want to meet with Sokotwani. Those are the two names were coming up. They were not talking about Edgar Lungu. Okay?
When Edgar Lungu was president?
No, even when he was president, I mean, he could go there, but I'm telling you the truth. The level of respect that level of, I can tell you one thing. This thing could have been done by then if really he was on that level.
That is very misleading.
Okay, if he was on that level, if really by Eddie was on that level,
you see, this is why
this thing could have been done already. This is why
we mislead the president and the other people. This is where we do it. Decisions are not done. There is no way a president can sit to negotiate a deal alone. If the president is part of the deal, what will happen? You don't.
No, I mean, look. You were saying that what was he doing? He was going to meet with all these creditors, because what you need to understand is you have to break down the debt and see who do we owe. Oh, we owe France this, we owe China this, we owe this, we owe Moayanga Kulama meetings. You go there, you sit down and talk with them.
Who goes
and discuss, iron out certain issues. Now, but Eddie, he never did that.
Edgar Lungu, the Edgar Lungu-led government, you see, there was a minister of finance. There were the technocrats who have worked on those Eurobonds and others for many years. You can't just get a president who doesn't have any knowledge about the public service and what has been done and say, he negotiate. He might be a good negotiator.
No, you go with a team.
That.
It's not one person, it's a team.
No, but if you see the team, it's not the president. For me, if it is working for UPND, well and good. And I'm going to tell you this. If it is working for UPND, where the president is the one negotiating the deals and the deals, if it works well, is the president leading those and it is going to bear fruit. Well, good. Thank you for Zambia. But I'm telling you, for me, the people that are supposed to be leading these negotiations are Minister of Finance and Secretary to Treasury with a team at Finance. These are not politicians because they have to live beyond the political line, especially Secretary to Treasury. He has to play a very critical role in this.
So why do you think we're praising Banankani Bamsokotwane? Bamsokotwane has been the key person in this whole deal.
There are things that PF refused to agree on, which you guys came and agreed on, and you moved forward. One of the things were the decisions that are biting the Zambian people right now, the decisions that you are saying, oh, you left us, so we need to get these people out of there. You know that. Know that.
Okay. I think let's do this. Let's do this. But Danny, you want to come in before we go to? I think we need to go to the next topic.
Yes, we need to go to the next topic.
Yeah, because we tie up with
as I said earlier on, I can only congratulate my government for what they have done, and I feel proud to be Zambian right now at international level because our reputation at international level has been regained. Finally, Zambia on the international scene. Thank you.
Yeah. So, Mopani. So the Mopani deal, some are happy, some are not happy. Just like some people will like you, some people won't like you. And some people they like the current government, some people don't like the current government for various reasons. But I think we need to look at it. Zambian. Like me, I always talk about the mines because this is passionate for me because all my grandparents they lived and worked in the mines and died there. See, so that we're using when they're going underground. You see, so when this deal was done, struck. This is good. Qualify negative.
Yes.
You see? And then, well, here's what we're going to do. Can you tell us about Machina? Is this a good deal or is it a bad deal?
My conclusion has been difficult to know whether it is a good deal or not a good deal because there's key information missing in the deal. There's a lot of key information that is missing in this deal. Now, number one, from onset, I don't support foreign-driven investments, whereby they have to be the majority shareholders in our key strategic sectors. No. Why I feel bad about this deal is that, you see, we had a chance to start getting things back into the Zambian hands. And then we took it back into foreign hands. That for me is a problem. The deal that we did, I was right into this deal which was done earlier by the patriotic French government. I was part of that team. I was part of the people who were seated in Mopani. I was part of the people who were doing the assessments of the things and things that were actually sitting in the Mopani. That mine is new, right the way it is. It required $300 million to start getting operation. Whatever we had 280 million tons of ore defined, already surveyed, geologically mapped, and it is there. Mopani, we had problems with the way the foreign investors were managing the mine. And I've given examples in the past. Number one, what were they doing? They come here as expatriates, set up companies, become their own suppliers. There were taxes that they were running away from. They will bring money, price transfers. There are a lot of things that were happening in the money. Undercutting our suppliers. They give them all. This side you'll be supplying at $250 per meter. The other side, because it's white, is being given $15,000 per meter. The Zambians had to start disbanding as contractors, getting the foreigners to be part of that. The guys just seated in New York because it's white, he's busy to be a majority supplier and whatever within the mine. So for me, the problem I have with the deal is the shareholding, because I know that mines are run by shareholding. And that's why you see Kalisa investment going in there, Glencoe and others. How are we going to bring our people to invest in the mine, even in shareholding? This deal is clouding a bit of secrecy. Number one, the other point I have is, if Glencoe wanted 1.5 billion over a period of 10 to 17 years, and the reason is simple: why time value of money, and they're not paying anything until you do that, and 10% was guaranteed to be sold to them. Thank you very much. Okay, that was a bad deal. This is government comes in. How much has been paid to Glencoe right now for them to stay away? How much has been paid?
The whole debt that you guys contracted.
Yes, but the question is, how much have you paid them?
They've paid them the whole thing, so they're out. They're not in the deal.
You see,
Glencoe is not in the deal anymore. So Glencoe is a thing of the past.
The question
what we're looking at
of the past, I want to know how much was paid to Glencoe, because you can't come and say this deal was bad. I asked you a question: how much did you pay there, and who financed it? Now let me tell you something. It is possible that these guys that have come, the foreign investors, might have cleared the bill and say, okay, the current value, the present value, which is $800 million, here is what we've given you, so go walk away. And they're going to have the stake for 15%, because they would pay for a higher stake. They would pay for control. So why that we are busy jubilating about these things? Oh, they've now come. No, we are not the owners. We don't own that money.
We are the owners.
We are
the owners. I think let's not mislead them.
There are 51% shareholders.
Yes. So we still own. That's how business works.
It's shareholding.
No, that's how business works. The one
with the highest shares is the owner.
No, but look, at this point, you left that with no choice because of the bad deals you guys were entering.
What bad deal?
The bad deal we are Glencoe much today, yeah. Because there's no way. If we had continued on machine, let's do this. If we had continued on the trajectory of keeping more money, receivership, the way you guys did it.
No, there was no receivership. The receivership was stopped.
Yes, but there was no production.
No, but what? You stopped the production yourselves. How can you say there was no production? You came and
because there was money being owed. Glencoe wanted, because what you said was the Glencoe career.
You are the guy that stopped production. No one else did.
But money, how can we start mining when Glencoe is saying give us our money?
No,
if you want us
Glencoe didn't say that, because the deal that was signed did not amount to being given money. It's when you cancel that Glencoe started wanting the money.
Money. The thing is this: the bottom line, what we did is we reversed the bad decisions you guys made.
Answer the questions to the bad deal. Yes, answer the question.
What's the question?
The question is that how much has been given out? You don't know. Number two, when you say what was bad, what was itemized? What was
it bad? Was what was on to Glencoe. I don't have the right figures, but we owed Glencoe. I don't know the exact amount, but whatever that amount was. I don't know about Dan if you have the exact figure exactly, but I can tell you one thing. Whatever the money was owed to Glencoe, these guys came in and said, guys, okay, we have this project and we have this mine. Can we sit down? Okay. And then we sat down and then they said, okay, fine. We'll pay them off. Okay. We don't want to come in and say, oh, we own this 100% because we've paid them off. Again, on top of that, we're going to reinvest into the mine. meaning we'll pay all the workers, all the contractors. Why is that not a good deal? Because all these years, not we can have court.
There was no court case for money.
They wanted their money. They wanted their money.
They wanted the money because you cancelled. But before the cancellation, Glenn didn't want the money. So if they wanted their money, they wanted the money because
they wanted their money. They couldn't just live without their money. They want their money.
Cancelled the contract. Machine, you came and cancelled the contract. So what do you want Glenn to do?
Now, in fact, ili ashiria Glenn tayatampire mu UPND. Yatambire MPF.
Yatambire mu MMD. Let me run you through maybe.
Okay. Okay, so yatambire mu MMD ya MPF, but PF mwafira okusoba.
But Glenn, let me run you through because there's certain information that you guys have just come to know right now. Yatambire pani Wanawasa. When Glencoe came into the country and wanted to invest, they wanted to mechanize. They said we are going to create a mechanization system where we will reduce on the labor intake. And the first time what they did was they let go 5,000 people went home. And they had a projection that this year, 2024, there would have been like 800,000 metric tons of copper. We have the documents. The documents are there in Zambia. So, when they started the Synchronorium, they brought in experts, over 100 of them. Some of them we doubted even their qualification, but they were there. They were coming to set themselves up. Businesses and the contractors. They came and set themselves up there. Suppliers. The next thing what happened, they are the people that relocated from Zambia and went into South Africa. Why are based in South Africa? Why am I not supplying to Mopani? The same people, what they were paid heavily American packages. The Zambians didn't benefit from that. But
you are the people in government. You know
where it is leading to. By South Africa point that they did a Synchronorium. That's when they wanted to put a mine on care maintenance. That's when we told them no, you can't do that. Why should you put a mine invest 2 billion by care and maintenance? When did you recoup your investment? What has gone wrong? Let's sit down and resolve what has gone wrong so that we address what has gone wrong. But to send over 60,000 people over and that home. And when that was stopped, that is what gave birth to the 90% Zambia stake into Mopani. And that is why you saw the deal start to come. It was because of what they invested. Then you guys came and cancelled that. Yes, they would have paid clinical, but at what expense? They take the higher stake. In the mine, they take the higher stake. The next thing you will see is the management. The management is changing. That management is
no, it's not going to change. It's not going to change. It will be the same. They're keeping the same. No, the thing is this. Let me tell you one thing about Machina. The way you guys were conducting business and the way this current government is conducting is totally different.
It's totally different. Management, you see. There's no shareholder.
Moneni, why did we reach to the position where we are? It's because what you were doing is not you, but you, because I saw you were fighting, but the other members of your party. Organization Yambi, and then they become soft. You see? They become soft. And then when they become soft, they start compromising the people. If, like I said, like, look, if you guys were so brilliant, we would not be in this situation. Ngama minds you say Mopani would have been 100% Zambian owned, Zambian rand, because you made a good decision. You said it started from MMD. Mwalisa angire problem here. Mwaisa, what did you do? You encouraged that problem. Okay? And then what do? We've come in, we've sorted out that problem, and then you're saying it's a bad thing.
Let me give you examples of why it's not as easy as Zambian. When UPND settled, what was the timeline to have the operation start from Mopani? The president went there and said, in the 1st March last year, this thing would come to the minister. What was he saying? By this date, we are going to do this. Why didn't they do it on that other date? Why?
Because we're looking for good investors.
When you are rushing to say, oh, it's too much, you will not do them at the right time. You will come to learn. After tax holidays, wait until the tax holidays come. Then you will see the real miners how they behave. They change. They change. They're good.
No, my policies in fact what is being done now, the old what you call a mining act, it won't be the same one that us will be working on, because we're working on a new act that's going to benefit abantu ba Zambia for the next coming 100 years.
You see the problem with you guys and your team.
Certain things yes, but certain other things no.
There is no investor who loves us as Zambians. They love what we have. Look at what they pay our contractors. Look at what they pay our workers. It will have sent you signal, including our never. What them? Then you are going to learn that effort to learn the favorite we are going to stop you. And because they know that your government is a government of businessmen and they are novice in terms of what they know about government processes, they will be easily dribbled. What do? They find a fight between us, the previous government and the current government. The only thing you are going to do is, this is a bunch of useless guys.
I think we're sitting on a better deal than
you
would have said that one previous
you
government.
haven't achieved anything yet until the results show. You haven't achieved one thing. I'm telling you, it's high time we started having a conversation to say, you guys, what did you learn?
On your level of PS, yes, you did some good things. But look at what the what the whole government, if you look at it, it's the whole government. You have to look at the whole government system. They achieved nothing for this country.
That is not true.
I'm telling you the truth. I mean, they did one or two things, but look, negotiations, higher level negotiations, they were nowhere.
Like which ones?
Like you failed to complete it. Other mines, like we are in debt. No, because you
see, you destroy president because you want presidents to think that they know it all.
No, it's a team. It's a team. It's a team. To a better team. I think the Zambian people can attest to that. When was the last time our students invited to State House in Gumuna?
You see, that is cheap politics.
No, I'm just telling you.
That is cheap.
Because what we're saying is this: they can understand how these things work. They say, okay, look, I think we're in a better position than where we were yesterday. We're better to have this government in position because we've gained a lot in 2 years. If 2 years,
you see, let me tell you the things that you are not thinking about it. How much is I want to pay. That is what must be addressed. If it was a these things don't add value. The value is in the people having decent meals. 3 meals. Those are the things that matter to people. If it is something that you've done very well, the people have to tell you. But I'm telling you here that these some of the things and the people have to trust you. You think they've not been trusted? They've been trusted when they've betrayed the Zambian. They are betraying you as well. Very soon,
Teti mdala, teti.
okay.
Teti, ndemyewe chishinga mdala, lekeni mwala munofo chala abano panomba. Now that this restructured deal has been muletasha sometimes. Kutasha. It doesn't hate you kutasha. Take over the only chintu chiswa chachitikawe. No. Sometimes kutasha now chichela chawa mechi. What can we do? Provide solutions and provide additional knowledge and expertise that you have. You've gained all these years. The topic should be Awe. So now we've reached this stage. Why don't we do this so that the next generation does not reach into the same situation that the PF made us to be in?
Do you know this? Problem. You see, trying to pretend that you know it all. It is pretending to know everything. It is not right. You see, some of us are working. We didn't just work because of PF. PF found us in government. When PF was coming, I was 20 years in service. That is when PF was coming. So I had seen from UNIP up to when PF was coming, including UPND. So when I'm talking about this, the problem is that you bunch everyone else who doesn't share the view, or someone who has a critical mind to this. PF, you even attack President TCA for nothing. You see, you go ballistic on something that you don't need to do. We all want the best for Zambia.
Muletasha muntu nabomba muletasha kutota kada awe apapena apa mwatuchila
tatufuira kuipusha questions
awe kuipusha nivyo fini
natwaipusa mwasuka don't tell us that natuomba letwamupusha question mwakano huko asuka
okay tamuletasha tinabomba debt restructuring tamuletasha
baba mashina ina nini mebanje the debt restructuring in terms of the principle. It's okay.
No. Forget about our details. I'm
details in Chikwete.
But just if you to Africa po level of by
the point is that when they start asking you questions beyond what they do, beyond you tota, then you guys say no, tamufile kuipusha kumufile muletota.
Mopani tamuletasha.
Because it is in foreign hands. I don't trust anyone.
So,
we were better off because you can contract the management of a mine. You don't. You need to have the shareholding. The shareholding is a state.
How many people were not employed?
I don't trust you guys.
Because tabali fumine nchito tabalebo.
Let me tell you one thing for free after. In the copper belt, me as best, I was sent by ECA to go to the copper belt and sort out to stop Abantu from being declared redundant, and no one was declared redundant. If anything, who did we declare redundant? We declared the general manager redundant and went back to Australia. He was the one who lost the job. The Zambians didn't lose jobs because we refused to have Zambians lose their jobs for nothing. We refused. And Grenico heed to what we said.
But they were not paying them.
Which one? Who was not being paid? They were paid yesterday. They are there. Ask the union. Don't even go anywhere. Ask the union. They were there. You know, I don't need to do anything. Just go to the mine and workers union. Moose is there. Nomau is there.
Okay, Monen. Mopani, when did this stop production? When
you canceled the deal.
No, wait.
When did this?
Never cancel deal.
Do you know that in 2019, Mopani had 30,000 metric tons of copper ore that they did. In 2021, they were at 34,000. That increased by 4,000 metric tons. So when you say you're not producing, what do you mean? You can talk about, yes, the production was not sufficient, but they were producing. They had even increased by 4,000 tons. So when you come and say you're not producing, what do you mean?
Well, it's because when we came in, we found that the government owed Mupani in Dalama.
The government did not owe Mupani. Where are you getting those facts from?
Why have they out of the deal? It is because of the money that they,
Mupani
came
in. When you, I've been telling you, you went and tampered with a deal which was signed. And so they wanted their money. So how could you produce? Because you didn't pay now. So that's why you have to go and
or you.
I can't come guys have 2 years in line. Bapanga company 2021. Yes, I stand in 2024. From what? 2022.
No, that wasn't built in. That company is huge. They're coming from
Teamwork. They're very important for the country. We must be able to say, okay, what positive role can we play to support the government and the Zambian people going forward? For me, that is what I'm interested in. I am a politics before people are later. It will not help us. Because
okay. Let's look at the overall thing. People have been employed. People have been employed. That's a good thing.
The people are never soon. This is what they want to see.
No, but I want to know tachiweme.
Eh?
I want to know tachiweme.
But the world is
people were at home. But when was it? Mining, it stopped operations. So they were being paid for nothing.
The deal which was done when we stopped,
people were not at work.
Moneni, they can pay example. There are 3 sets of people that were employed in the past. Because no employment without going into the nitty-gritty. There were people that were directly employed by the past. And there were people who were contractors supplying labor and other things to the plant. So when you combine, there are 2 things that happen. The contractors were paid, most of them with redundant packages, because they could not go into production.
Yeah. Okay, moneni itayapwa legeni tushite so itayapwa this argument can go on. Vakalinda, are you there or you're not there or
nababutuka naye batokisi nababutuka Vakalinda nababalala badani babutuka
badani balefo kuingira Vakalinda. I think
badeteni badani
balefo kuingira badani, you know, and
admit it.
Kalinda we suna mulala. I think, I don't know, she's out of a table or something.
Vakalinda nabafuma pa table basirefe basha babisongerekanya babutuka.
Why? Anyway, so in any case, we've done at least 1 hour, 23 minutes. To try out, I think, few things here and there, but we cannot agree on one thing. But the most important, bottom line, Umwine Zambia is happy with what's happened. Okay? Umwine Zambia Mwine if you're Zambia, if you're a Zambian. There's no way you can be against what's happening, all these improvements. You cannot. But if you want to go into politics, that's a different animal. That's a different animal, because politics, obviously, you have to be against. But I think, sometimes we need to do more politics that. And even you from the opposition, you say, I think that's good, but I think we can do it this way. Now that this has been done, let's contribute, let's do this. Can we work with you? Not if you're but people are doing something. You know, 100%, you know. So it's the same thing. You have to say, okay, yeah, this is good for now for our people. I think overall, This is way much better. You know, I swear, this is way much better. You may be laughing.
No,
This
okay,
is
that's so.
way much better.
In short, you are saying the majority, the shareholding, the stake, which you have given a majority shareholding to the foreigners is okay, is good. Is that what?
Look, I'm the shareholding. It's where would have the current government, organize that money to pay off Glencoe? So what do they need to do? They need to find a strategic partner to say, okay, fine, we'll pay that off. We'll pay off our contractors. Look at the debt that was there. Our contractors were never paid for years. Valero defender Amasha. Our contractors very period.
Ama contractors or not?
Kumapani akola wama contractors. Takwa wama contractors.
That's why if you had the chance to look at the deal that was signed.
No, let's just look at the brighter thing. Now that this has been done, it's like we're starting afresh, no, but we're tamper afresh. So people are going to be employed, people will be going for work. If you look in the compounds, we know my mine here Tampoku should operate now. Okay, nobody's saying well, this is a bad thing. Nobody. Go to the compound.
This is what is not right. You came and created the crisis where I was now. Mwapanga abantu kubapuwa adokwamba kulayirishanya ero yabamba kulayirishanya ero mwabwera mwasa atone shamishi paru ibero mwana ndamwebere nomba kai nomba mwamba rombo kumwamechi. That is not how people do. If I'm left for the people know the Mopani deal. If it was left to stand, this time we wouldn't be where we are. For the last 2 years, when you came in, 2 years, people have not been benefiting anything from Mopani for 2 years. Abantu balechula fikuja. Apana bamwade etabamusa. Eve neba mind. 51%.
They are shareholders. They are partners. We are partners
with a majority decision.
No, it doesn't matter. But it's a partnership. It's a partnership.
You cannot say to the company 51% share. You can't come and say you are the owner of the company.
No, there's no way you can be. That's why the partnership, because you can't be just making decisions.
That is why we needed to be.
Before you make a decision, you have to say because we're partners.
Why did we get 49? Why did we get 51 and 49?
Because you're 24 to replay for Glencoe 20.
If you were 49%.
Who do we have here? Oh, Vandani is back. Okay, Vandani, you can come in. You wanted to come in. I don't know where Vakalinda is. Yeah.
I'm right here. I'm right here. I'm right here. I just wanted to. Sometimes you let people talk so you can learn one or two things.
You are such a good moderator. You fire the fire and then you sit in the background and just listen.
So now let's bring in Valentine. The deep thinker is here. I know he's been waiting for a while here. Deep thinker, we're talking the debt, raise that was just, partially, I mean, that's the right thing to say, partially concluded by the UPND government. Your comment, Deep thinker, on that, and I'm sure you have a lot to put out here. Deep thinker.
All right. Me, I just wanted, I've heard, I was in the background hearing Kazi and Wachilufya talk. I think they both are very convinced that Kazia is saying there's still something that's not ironed out in this deal. But as people, some of us who support what has happened, I think we have no doubt that there's nothing else to iron out. Things have happened. And we just have to look positive now going forward. So that's I think that's the way we should conclude, to say let's wait and see what our government is doing. I think, as Chilufya said, I think this is one of the best presidents we'll ever have in Zambia. He means well for the country. He's doing the best he can for the country, and I just sometimes dread where we would have been with PF in power as of today. I don't know where it would have been, but anyway, that's my only contribution. I was in the background listening to both of you talk, and but I think it's very important that we appreciate what our president is doing. Thank you.
Absolutely fantastic. You're right there, my good Lotzie. I mean, if I'm playing Chibuya, I would say my husband. But anyway, we leave it there. Valentine, you want to come in, deep thinker? Valentine, I'm pretty sure Valentine, the deep thinker, he's like Mr. Kalapa, he's still trying to nurse the loss that or the draw that Manchester United got this week. So I think we go back to the one and only, the PS that we have. I mean, I love it. Simply because, I mean, this is a man who was in the government, and we should learn one or two things. Because sometimes when we say, okay, the PF did, everything wrong, but, I think there are some lessons that we need to learn from the PF, as far as, governance issues concerned, where we are now and how to go forward from here. So, Mr. PS, I know you said a lot. You went toe to toe with BantuTV. I think my only question that I have is that I mean, yes, we know. I mean, the debt restructuring thing is coming in 3 forms. We have the one that the government to government, date that's been concluded. We know everything's been signed and still there. And then we have the private debt. And then also we have the local debt. Because that's also a huge debt, where we have companies that haven't been paid for years. I mean, almost 3, 4, 5, 6 years now. And where do we go with that debt? That PS.
Anyway, that is a very good question, and also a very good perspective you brought in. You see, I think I would say that for most part of what my experience has been in all successive governments, we have not done very well at liquidating the local debt. Usually we will talk about debt. Well, the moment we talk about debt, we go into foreign debt. And if we talk about servicing, we're talking about servicing so much of the foreign debt. The local debt has not been done very well. And to the certain extent, it is what has caused a little bit of problematic in terms of strengthening our industrial base and the productive sectors of our economy. It's because, when we don't pay our local debt, it's really difficult for the local companies to actually survive. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so yeah. I think you are right in terms of saying that maybe we need to focus a little bit more on how we liquidate the local debt. Yes, there was money that was given in PF to do the local debt, but I think it wasn't adequate. We still had a lot of Congolese. And you remember one of the strategies that were used at the time was, you remember the civil service debt, where there was a debt swap that was being proposed. And I think later on it was cancelled. That was one of the ways to actually deal with local debt. For instance, the issue was, if a person has unpaid leave, why don't you let them take the leave time, so that you can own the demand on what you're supposed to pay, so that you just remain with the basic minimum of the days and the minimum of the days that are required maybe to carry over. There was also issues to do with how do we talk about the civil service vis-a-vis the debt that they owe in these micro lenders. Now, you know, micro lenders are also big financiers of political systems in Zambia. They actually jump on that, and they cut deals. They want to make sure that they are not touched, because the issue was, if there is a micro lender, a person has gotten money from the micro lender, and that micro lender has money from government. Why should the government pay that person instead of doing a swap where that money which is already paid can be taken care of in terms of looking at the debt that the civil servants were owing? Because I can assure you, the civil service is heavily indebted, especially teachers and nurses and the other. They are very, very heavily indebted with the micro lenders, and they are deducting at source. So all those things need, I think, to be looked at and see how they can be done. And especially with the increased now numbers that has joined the civil service, that should be something that government needs to look at very, very active.
Great. Great, and you know, we really want to make sure that date, you know, is restructured as every other date that's been restructured so far, so that the economy can move. I mean, as much as we love, I know, you know, us Zambians. I mean, usually when I say this phrase, people give me the sideways look, but this attitude of Muzungu Anikonde thing. Muzungu Anikonde, exactly. You know, right now we're celebrating this Muzungu Anikonde Day thing that we're talking about now. At the end of it all, that money is going out; it's not coming in.
Yeah.
So the local debt should really be the one that we are focusing on, because that money is staying within the local economy. That means, you know, my aunt, my uncle, my brother, my cousins, all my lousy husbands, all my nephews from the Eastern Province and cousins from Northern are taken care of, because at the end of it all, that money remains in the Zambian economy, and that's what really grows the economy or pushes the economy forward. So let me bring in here my the deep thinker. Are you here or not? Or are you just listening in the background? All right. Maybe we should move for. Are you here? Can I hear something?
I think it's muted. His
mic is muted. His mic.
He needs to unmute himself. Deep thinker.
You see, when you talked about Muzungu Anikonde, I have an experience there.
Go ahead.
When you work in government and at a certain level, all of a sudden, everyone is very good to you. And they are very, very, very good to you. They are share you with a lot of things. And the moment your termination is announced, the moment you are fired, the moment I was fired, I should say, the phone didn't ring. It was only ringing to those that are close. Those that I would even expect, okay, going to put nothing. They would do Muzungu Anikonde when
yeah, you know. We know how we are. We know how we are. Yes, I mean, we know how we are. That really describes us as a people, which I find very shameful, because I believe that we can learn from the people, or from those that were in government and those that are coming in with new ideas. Anyway, let's bring in here my lousy husband or boyfriend, however you want to call him. Today I love it, the fact that he's showing himself.
Yes.
You know.
My hand
yes.
To you.
Yes.
And
come in, my lousy husband.
So for me, talking about the local debts and the people that the government owes locally, I agree with you. We need to promote our local businessmen and local people that are helping our government when in need. But I also have this disappointment in the way some of the so-called people that helped our government with supplying the mines, for example, and stuff like that, sometimes supplying the government some services, discovering that some of those so-called suppliers to the government institutions were actually supplying air. They literally were not supplying anything, but they were continuously drawing money out of our government coffers. It's very disappointing. I'm not saying those were the majority, but even a few of them were in that category. So it really makes me sad to see that, to learn that those type of things were happening. And I know that some government officials were aware of that some of these people were given contracts to construct a so-called road network, and they don't even have a wheelbarrow. They don't even have any machinery of constructing a road whatsoever. But they were given those contracts, and 10% was given to them even before they start doing anything. So a good example is this musician who was supplying, supposedly was supplying Zambian National Service uniforms. I'm saying this because one of my relatives used to work there. Malembe, is it Malembe? He was given a contract to supply. Malembe is a musician, and he has a contract to supply uniforms, police uniforms, and Zambia National Service uniforms. He doesn't even have one tailoring shop anywhere. Zero. This is not right. And when Chilufya says there was a lot of mismanagement and all that, financial mismanagement in the PF, these are some of the examples we give, whereby how can someone be so-called government supplier? And Malembe stopped now. He wanted to sue the government, but they just told him, show us one uniform that you made that applied to the government. And he was owed 700 million kwacha, I'm told. 700 million kwacha for supplying air. And he stopped. The case now stopped. But we had this type of contractors in the government. And I hope my government right now is not doing this type of stuff, because it was so common and rampant in the PF government.
My lord, before our PS comes in, I mean, let me just come in, because this is what happened last week. Just to add on what my lousy husband, or should I say my lousy handsome husband, just alluded to right now, is that last week we just had a case of I know last week I was corrected. I shouldn't call her the former first daughter. So I should always acknowledge the first daughter. Kasila Lungu, who just lost wealth or properties cash worth $25 million through a forfeiture because of she couldn't actually account for her wealth. When between the years 2015 and was it 2011, 2015, when their father came into government, to 2020, she couldn't account for $21 million or $25 million when she only earned, according to the ACC. Now, don't jump on me. This is what the ACC proved in the courts of law. She only earned less than 200,000 kwacha. So as a result of that, she forfeited 25 million kwacha. Did I say dollars? I'm sorry. I should say 25 million kwacha to the government of the Republic of Zambia. She couldn't account for that. Just adds on to what my lawyer husband here, Dr. Johnny, just mentioned. I know that that PS on the panel has something to say about that. I'm sure he wants to justify how Kasila Lungu, who only made in 5 years less than 200,000 kwacha, could account for 25 million kwacha, which she couldn't in the courts of law. She lost that property. And then we have Malembe, who wanted to sue the government. And then, the writing's on the wall. Mr. PS, I know you have a whole lot to say there.
Yeah, I have a whole lot to say here.
Now, I will start with the issues to do with Tassila. I know that there are a lot of cases that are like that, where former ministers, former leaders, former secretaries, directors, they are all in court for something related to issues to do with not explaining your wealth. Now, I don't have a problem, but because I know for a fact that obviously maybe Tassila has already appealed that decision, maybe to the High Court or stuff like that.
Oh, no, she hasn't appealed. She hasn't appealed. Let's just put it on the record. No.
If she hasn't appealed, well and good. That is a conviction. That is something that the court has proved. And you know, from where I stand, I don't have to contradict what the court has said. If the court has found her guilty and they've confiscated that, it's going to government, it is okay. It's a good thing to do. But I would also want to see that the current leaders that are there is no one actually facing the ACC right now. And you will see that from what I see, the consistency of having these investigations must not just be for the former leaders. What about the people that are in government right now? Like people that you have found with 200,000.
I'm right there with you. I'm right there with you, PS. I'm just gonna put out names out there. If people like my favorite minister currently, who I call Mr. He's a member of parliament for my I own a little property in Monse. If my current MP Jack Juhunya Wimbu cannot, account for his properties or money. I'm right there for him to face the law.
Exactly.
If the local government minister, by the name of who we know, Gary Combo can't account for whatever he has, let him face the same law that Sila Lungu is going through right now. And so many, including the president himself.
Exactly.
If they can't account for what they have, let them go through the same, court process that Sila Lungu has gone through. And of course, now, your Home Affairs Minister, Kampiongo, is going through, again. Here is the evidence in court. I'm not saying I should judge them, but this is what they are presenting to the judge. They're telling the judge that, by the way, my wife got properties and cash worth 1.9 million kwacha because that's money that she got from as a graduation, present from her parents. Hey, let it be, because between you and I, Mr. Pierce, I'm just speaking for myself, and then I'm going to go to the my lousy husband here, and of course the deep thinker. Between you and I, when I graduated from college, and I'm not saying I'm coming from the poor background, because I don't subscribe to what the Western poor, connotation or idea is. I feel like I come from a middle income family, because my father was a political science lecturer at a college. My mother was a school teacher. So I've never known hunger. I've never gone hungry. I've always had shoes. I've always had everything that I needed to live as a human being. So there. I'm just gonna put it there. But at the same time, when I graduated from college, or whatever I've succeeded in, I've never ever earned 1.9 kwacha from my parents. They gave me a house. The best I could, I'll get, for Christmas, I'll get brand new pair of shoes or clothes and stuff like that. I'm just putting out there, just as Zambia normal general living lifestyle is. Doc, when you graduated as a doc, what did you get from your parents? Let me ask you that.
I got some traditional gifts which I value up to now. I'm just looking at one of them in my office right now. Yeah, they get just simple symbolic things. Yeah.
So were those traditional gifts that you get from were they worth 1.9 million kwacha?
In terms of value, I value them so much, but they never gave me something that I can say it's worth 1 million, 2 million, or whatever. But yeah, they gave me some symbolic thing that they just told me, this is for you. Wherever you go, keep it, and remember that we support you and we're so proud of you, and that's it. And so I've never received that amount of money from my parents at all.
Great. Deep thinker, did you get 1 million or 2 million kwacha from your parents when you got your doctorate as a doctor? Oh, maybe he's listening in. So, Deep thinker, you want to comment on that? No.
I did not get. They didn't even kill a chicken.
What did you get from your parents when you graduated and you got your doctorate? You are now a doctor and here living in America.
Job well done. That's it.
Great. But P.S.
And put me in the field to work.
There you go. But P.S. What did you get from your parents when you graduated?
When I graduated, I got. I think I was given 2 pots and 2 plates to go and start a life.
I like
where those, yeah. Now, where those 2 pots and 2 plates, where they worth 1.9 million kwacha?
No. My parents were both teachers, so it is basically that you would you knew exactly what to do. And by the way, when I was graduated the first time, I was going to be teaching. I was going to new school as a new teacher, so I knew how a teacher was coming to new school because my father was a headmaster. So we already knew what to start with. So your life was started with a pot and a plate, and you can go and start your life. So there was no money given.
So there you go. BantuTV, you've been hiding. What did you get from your parents when you graduated? BantuTV, my co-host, what did you get?
Like I told you the last time you asked me the same question, with me it was just hugs and kisses.
There you have it. Now you have a former minister and his wife saying, "Oh, Judge, this is how much we got." And basically, everyone on this panel, we are all from the same background, regardless. You know.
And to make matters worse, my family couldn't be here because I was here overseas, of course, and everybody was back home. So they just sent you see. So they just sent me like oh yeah, we love the messages and stuff. So nobody could physically be here to like really hug me and kiss me, but they sent the messages and stuff like that because
I mean, we see this kind of lifestyle. What are these people trying to tell us when they go to court? What is Tassila Lungu trying to tell us when we go to court? What is Kampiongo and his wife? But P.S., I want you to come in, and then now that we have the deep thinker, I really like his thoughts on this. I'm sure he has something stellar for us. Please go ahead, deep think, and then we go to Mr. With my lovely husband, the dog. Before we come to BantuTV. Go ahead, brother. Go ahead.
In Zambia, having been at the helm of civil service and having seen a lot of engagement around that, Zambia has evolved to a point of extravagance of lifestyle. Like anyone who has money, they want to float it. Either someone buying a girlfriend a house, someone buying a wife a new car, like my friend Tabo Kawana, permanent secretary. Now he was director. I just walked in the showroom, bought a new car, gave the wife, which was
but even that. I mean, I'm sorry, I have to come in. I have to come here, our resident PS. That car wasn't worth 1.9 million kwacha. I mean, I'm sorry.
that is and never even to be investigated. Now, when you talk about equity, me, I'm not a person who doesn't want equity. I want everyone to be treated the same way when it comes to the law. If there is something to be investigated, let it be investigated. Whether the person was in the former government or is in the current government, if you see something that is suspicious, let's just work around it and make sure that is the only way we can build a better community. Now, for instance, like that, I know exactly. I was permanent secretary myself. When I was permanent secretary, I was in different conditions. This time they had stopped giving a personal holder to go away with once you leave office. They will give you a loan to get a vehicle. Now, even the loan, you couldn't pay cash. There was no cash payment under civil service microfinancing. There is no cash payment. It has to go through the bank. And the deduction for such kind of vehicles is around maybe 18,000. Now, a director gets almost like that at that much. So that was not something that was right. I think if it needed to be investigated, it should have been investigated. And for me, I don't have a problem having to investigate, having to go through the court process, and having to make the court decision. The court decision is fine, whether we like it or not. But to build a better community, a better society, there must just be equity in terms of how we look at criminality. Be whether you are from former government or current government. Kakubo, for instance, there's been no investigation. You can't say that, that show you money on the table just amounted to him resigning and it's okay, we look the other way. We needed to understand how did we withdraw that money, that whole money, and how the transaction want to go into cash systems like that. So these are some of the things for me.
But sorry, I have to cut you short by PS. Kunoko tuava kuno. If you want to go and get a vehicle, you will go pay cash. Yeah, just tell everybody the truth, how it is and how it works. If you want
you buy cash, but to go through the bank.
No. Let's talk about how it works really.
No,
if you want to go buy a nice vehicle.
I got a car here, and I'm going to give you my example here. Because when I came from Zambia, I came here, I didn't have a car. I went and bought a car. So what I did was I transferred the money after I sold the car that I was having in Zambia, sent the money here, went to the account, I went to the bank, went to the dealership, got the documentation, went to how much do you want to pay, what do you want to put as a down payment here, and how much do you want to be financing every week here, where is the counter person to support you? That was that. So the transfer was done. Yes, I made a huge payment.
Look, me, as far as I know,
show up with cash.
No, you don't need. You actually don't even need to have cash. But there's an initial payment that you pay, which is very little, and then I can tell you one thing. Was it last month? I actually helped Umkashana to get a car. You don't have to have real cash. They'll tell you you can even get a car on lease. It's the same thing, even there in Zambia.
No.
No.
I'll tell you this one, Machina, because I was PS, I was signing on the documents for those microfinancing of our FIMA loan, our FIMA payments and all that. I was that. When you are using government financed system in Zambia right now, you can't pay cash. There's no cash transaction. And you have to have a very good, significant down payment towards the car. You have this through government financing loan.
No, if you have personal money, your own personal money.
If you have personal money, take it to the bank and then you transfer. You can't go if you are going to benefit from a government non-taxable car, because when you are buying from microfinance, they waive the tax. And when they waive the tax, they want to make sure that the money is legitimate, is coming through the bank, and you have money in the account. And you can only pay so much, and you can't be having a 40%. You have to remain with 40% after they deduct. So if you have a loan running on government payroll, you are allowed to have a deduction up to 60%. 60%, that loan system we can tell do not go through.
So PS
all right. So, you two have been going at it all afternoon or all evening. Let's allow other people to come in And let's give the floor to the deep thinker, and then my lovely Losy husband here, the dog. Deep thinker, your thoughts.
The conversation that was going on, they lost me where it was
I
going.
know.
So,
Yeah, even I was lost.
so
Maybe
Even I was lost.
if you
I
allow me
can
to
remind
maybe
you.
highlight the deep thinker, what the conversation is like, so that you understand the few things from how things are happening. So what
Okay.
I was making references to say, when you are procuring your vehicle in Zambia, because I raised issues to do with cash payments
Right.
when you are using a microfinancing,
Right.
so that the money seems to be legitimate. So in Zambia,
Rakazia.
usually what you do is you make an application to the civil service microfinancing system that is there. Then you go to the dealership, you find the car. Then the money that you are going to pay has to go through the bank transfer to the microfinancing, and then the microfinancing is the one that is going. The government microfinancing system is the one that is going to actually get the car, and the white book will be in the name of the microfinancing company until it has been paid fully by it. That is what I was trying to bring. That was
Right.
all to avoid money laundering and to avoid corrupt practices by people that are in the senior government positions.
Rakazia.
Mukwai.
The bigger picture about was the illegal that happened if where someone is going to court and say I got $1.8 million as my graduation. That
That's
correct.
sense.
I think I already spoke to that. I think I said that we must not entertain, and if it is an investigation, it must be regardless of who you are, whether you are in current government or previous government, the law must be standard. That is my conclusion on that.
I agree with that. I agree with that because if if the standards are not the same, then it becomes very difficult to apply the law. That definitely I agree with that. Now, my take on that is, with all this money that we are hearing about, and on the other hand, we're hearing that the government defaulted, they were not able to pay a fair share of what they owed the international community, and even giving local businesses something to a startup money. I am just confused that people have this much money, and I'll let the law take its course. I'm not going to make a comment, but if that money is connected to the proceeds of corruption, I think the law needs to visit.
Yeah.
It needs to visit that person or those people, and even people in the current government, if they're connected to any kind of corrupt uh, tendencies or issues, they need to be investigated the same way. So that somebody talked about the equity. It's very difficult to reach the highest level of equity, but we can start from wherever we can start from and hold you accountable.
Right,
But
right.
I only let me just make my last comment here.
Yeah.
The problem I have with my previous government is trying to deal with this new law that says proceeds of crime and stuff. It's just, to me, it's just common sense. There's no way someone who was a police officer 3 years ago now owns $50-60 million type of property somewhere. Where do you? There's no magic like that where you wake up. If you haven't won a lottery somewhere, there's no way you're gonna generate $50 million within 3 years. You know, it's just common sense. But to say no, show me where did I steal this money? Why did I do this? But I mean, it's just obvious that there's no Zambian, for example, ordinary Zambian who constructs 10 kilometers wall fence of his farm. 10 kilometers. How? How do you do that? It's evident. It's there. The blocks alone for that.
Doc, just to add on to what you just said, we have former ministers Well, I'm sorry to say this. There's nothing wrong with people that sleep in the streets or those who wear malukutilas at their, graveyards, who suddenly, in less than a year, they are on all these properties in state laws. Their houses have antelopes, giraffes in the backyards, and tigers.
And
From our
Tom, and
national park, and on top of that, they come on air and say, "Oh,
yeah,
we are here. When we steal, we're here to make you steal money for the future."
that's just my
Or
wife.
yeah,
That's just my
or my perfume. This is
God.
I know this is on video. It's not what I'm not making this up. It's on video. They're coming on here and saying that, oh hey, oh, do you know my wife's perfume? It can pay lentils for how many more people?
Yeah, it's not right.
When we get to that point, I mean, it's a sad reality for my people who can hardly afford anything. Or not only that, when you go to the hospitals like UTA,
Uh-huh.
especially for cancer patients, I'm referencing to cancer patients because my mother went through that. It could have been worse if it could have been worse if my mother didn't, at least she had one or two people that she knew had money or was working there. You know, they couldn't get on time treatment because one, the machinery is broken, or there is no radio chemical, whatever you call those stuff at
Yep.
UTA to treat them. You know,
Okay.
that to me, it's a travesty, and not only is it a travesty, and then I'm looking at these people that are owning that are overnight, millionaires or
Mhm.
billionaires, however you can call them. They can go and sleep in their home, and now they want to come back now as if hey, we are being mistreated. And then they want to run on this narrative that, oh, every time we go to court, we are being mistreated. Or this is because we are from a certain tribe I mean, it just, let me not even go there now because I'm being sensitive, but this is how I feel because of what I see. I'm pretty sure about Chilufia has a word or two to say on that. Right, Chilufia? I
Hello.
mean,
Hi. Okay. Yeah. Look, these politics are, they're good and at the same time they're bad. But I want to, at the end of the day, like I was saying, look, they just want to look at what's benefiting from winner Zambia, and let's sometimes sometimes I like I want to put a blame on the previous regime, which we should actually. But look, we've scaled that step, and we're at a better position now than what we were before. You know, so if you look at how the current government and how the UPND team is doing things and working, it's way much more better. And I don't even know how to explain it. Like even people, different countries are coming to consult HH. They're coming. They're going to HH to consult. And how did you gain this? How do you reach this level? Because it's only 2 years. That's African 5 years. It's only 2 years. Now you can imagine in the next 10 years. Imagine that. Because how's the country gonna look like? You know.
hmm,
So that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm saying, and that's my vision. That's what I'm thinking. Really.
It's
hmm,
just amazing to see that you can go to any part of the country right now as we speak. At least
hmm.
that Kangombo where I come from, he has seen, he has tested the goodness of his or her government through the CDF Constituency Development Fund. Everything has reached every corner. Everyone
Well,
has seen in whatever it's wonderful. It's wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody. I was just talking to my cousin right there in the rural Zambia. They have seen for the first Land Cruiser at their police station. There was no vehicle before. The policemen were working all the time, not even a bike. Now they have a Land Cruiser. They have a vehicle to travel with in their constituency in the rural place, which they've never had any police vehicle before. And it's just nice for people to feel the government is doing something for once.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, look at. I can see our resident PS here. He has a lot to say on that.
I have a lot to say.
I can see his lips moving.
You
PS
see?
coming, and after the PS, I'm pretty sure my Jeep thinker has a
Yes.
lot to say. Has a lot to say. Please take the
I
floor,
like
the PS.
Let me tell you one thing. I like the way I think deep thinker usually is summarizing the points. Like once you talk, then he summarizes them into a certain. He puts it them in the right context.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, this is a discussion that at times we miss. It is where we think that maybe I should change the narrative and ask the question. What do you see as having been done right from the previous government? Because you see, every time I have a conversation with most of my colleagues, it's about the wrong. And this government, right. What do you think the previous government did right? And what do you think the current government did wrong?
Mm-hmm.
Because you see, if we don't have that conversation, it is what polarizes our conversations.
Mm-hmm.
It's where we see certain words for me, I avoid to use it. Oh, this is the first time this has ever happened. But do you know that there are also other first timers that have happened in the past? Which also must be appreciated that they happened for the first time. And this time the other part is also having the first time. So these are some of the things that for me I would rather we discuss. What do you think was done wrong, right from the previous government? What do you think is done wrong now? So that, when we have a conversation around that, it helps us to get to say, okay, what are we looking forward to? What are the things that must be avoided? We can all praise our own governments, but
exactly.
I would want to hear that.
You know what? That's a very candid question that you bring out. Our resident PS. I would like Deep Thinker to answer that question, and then my lousy husband over there sipping on something, and of course Virtual here. Deep Thinker, come in, please.
But PS, I understand what you're saying, and I agree with you. We look at the previous government from a negative angle. There are some things that happened. I was very impressed with the Lusaka when I went there, I think 2 years ago. I was pretty impressed with that. Now, my issue was that development seemed, I might be wrong, I need you to correct me. It seems that the development was concentrated in just a few places as opposed to every Zambian benefiting from what the government was doing. So that's one of the things. The other thing is that I agree with you. Zambians made it. Zambians survived. This social cash, I don't know who started it, but it's something that helped. I know it helps my elderly mother a whole lot. So there are some really good things that happened there. Now, I think when you talk about PF, really we're looking at individual people who amassed a lot of wealth and at the expense of the Zambians. If they worked for that money and earned it, kudos to them, to share. They can spend it any kind of way they want to spend it. They can throw it out in the streets. I wouldn't even care because they worked hard for it. But if you have the money and you cannot account for how you get that money, and the country's debt is going up and up and is skyrocketing, and then you default in paying back some money. That's where, for me, I have issue. I have a big issue with that. The one thing that I'm going to conclude with this: we are all Zambians. We need to
Correct.
change the politics of appreciation. We need to start the politics of appreciation. When something good is happening, let's rally together and say, well, that's a good thing, as opposed to always trying to find negatives. It's just like when somebody is talking, instead of listening to understand, you are listening to respond. That's how I perceive the Zambian politics is. And I'm glad, Mr. PS, you brought up the issue of, do you think the PF government did nothing all the time they were in power? I just want them to justify, tell us, where did you get the money? How?
Oh, oh my goodness, we lost him. I think we lost him. Hopefully, he comes back. Anyway, my lovely husband, respond to the same question of what do you think the PF did right for the for our country? I think you may have muted yourself, my lovely
All
husband.
right, here we
You
go.
may.
Yeah,
There we go.
I have to scratch myself first.
Mm-hmm.
Kazia knows very well that I have to dig down in my bag somewhere to think of what I did right.
Mm-hmm.
To be honest, PF started well under Sata. To me, Sata had a vision for this country. I know he overborrowed and all that, but he really wanted the best for Zambia. But the PF that came after the demise of our great leader, Michael Chilufya Sata,
Mm-hmm.
was very disappointing to me. Sata was a man of action. He borrowed money, and I wish he lived longer than he did. I think we would have seen great things in our country. But the PF that took over from Sata was taken over starting just after the death of Michael Sata. There was wrangles there. It looks like there was commotion in the PF. Selfish interests chipped in. People are not looking for quality leadership. The way their elections were held in Kabwe, it was all mafia tactics and stuff. So you could see that we're heading for chaos for our country.
Mm-hmm.
Right at the beginning, when they were finding someone to succeed Sata.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
From that time on, I was worried. Actually, my older brother told me that you see what is happening in Kabwe and you think those people have interests of the country at heart. There's no way. Our
Mm-hmm.
country, my brother, my older brother was PF. He was a SATA guy, but
Mm-hmm.
he appointed after the Kabwe convention for PF because they realized now our country is going to be ruined because these guys have lost the vision of Michael Sata, and that's what happened to our country. We had become selfish. People were being appointed in positions which were so important, but just because of partisan grounds and stuff, not quality at all. I know it's still maybe happening in the current government, but it's at a low level, to be honest. I can point few people that are misplaced in their positions here and there. But PF, it was almost like, to me, it was almost like the whole Bank of Zambia governor. This, all those guys were just not qualified to run. So it was like so bad that you look everywhere. It was just when you hear people were going the Bank of Zambia at night with bags to fill of money in the Bank of Zambia, they come with right on the hey, I'm coming with a bag, fill it up with money, that type of thing. So I find it really difficult to say this to pinpoint one thing, for example, to say this is what they did. I'm being honest. I because they did too much damage and very little good for the country. So to me, I can't think of something. Someone has to remind me.
All right, back to Lufia.
Well, I share the same sentiments what he has just raised. Yeah, and actually, that was what I was going to say. Like, look, me, I believe the PF that Vashkuru Kusata brought in, that PF was the best PF that we'll never, ever have again. Because he came in and said, look, I'll work for the Zambian people. He didn't want to enrich himself. He didn't want to, abuse the authority or abuse his authority and his ministers under him do that. He wanted to work for the Zambian people. That's why we voted for him. Now, unfortunately, he passed away. So when he passed away, everything changed. The philosophy that he had was no longer there anymore. And the worst part is they just appointed an individual that wasn't even thinking of being a president. They say, okay, fine, can you just, boom, let's put this person in here. Okay? So that was the worst thing. So when they put that person in there, he fumbled. That's the same thing I can coin out or analyze what the PF under Eddie was doing. Because Eddie, he fumbled the ball, to be honest. Let's be honest. He fumbled the ball. If Michael Sata didn't die, I think people would have been still voting for him now. But because he died, the man with the vision, the man with the authority, he died. Now, Toileta go a big Eddie, everything is, everybody's, everything is free for everybody. Like, what was like, wow, really? As a president, can you be putting out such statements? And he never held any press briefing or conference. He never did it. If he did it, I mean, it was just like once in a blue moon. But he never updated the people of the country to say, even when the things were going bad, he would just go on the airport and say, hey, I'm. That's all he would say.
Can I respond to some of those?
No, before you come in by our resident PS, I think I need to answer that question. I rarely talk, But anyway, let me just say, what did the PF do right? Okay.
I would want you to speak last before you synthesize my reaction.
All right, go ahead.
Now, first of all, let me correct my friend. You see, these are some of the discussions that become very toxic. My question was very clear that what do you think the PF did right? And what do you think the UPND is doing wrong?
I can tell you in 2 words.
Listen, Babu, you have concluded. But Daddy has concluded. He has not said anything.
No, I haven't concluded. I was still going. You cut me off.
I'm coming because
I haven't concluded.
Listen to me.
Okay, let me tell you. Okay, let me answer you this. Let me answer. Allow me to answer.
But in all fairness, you come back on the back. You can kick back. Yeah, let him go ahead. Our resident PS, go ahead, please.
When you want to go into the formation of PF, how PF was formed, what it did, and stuff like that, I can go back and tell you the formation of UPND. I was there. How YHH was not even part of the thing. He came in.
No. All right. Okay, I was there too. But go ahead.
We don't want that kind of. This is where this is where we have a problem, because now they are going after the PF from the formation and now how Edgar Lungu has performed and what is done. Edgar Lungu did his best part. And if you want to hold him account, I can tell you a lot of things that have gone wrong from UPND right now. Not even like things that happened last year, no. I'll tell you from just 2022, not even where the campaign is. I had the UPND manifesto on my table. Even when I was PF, I've said this time and again, I read it, I knew where the UPN direction was. Did that happen when you guys took office? No. What was being said and what was being done is different. But we understand this politicking.
No.
You understand? We understand this politicking when you tell people to say, oh, wait a minute, I'm going to put fertilizer 250 kwacha. This is a flood. These guys don't. We know it's politicking. Is that going to happen? Is 14 hours going to happen? Is 50 kwacha minimum going to happen? It will not happen. But was it said? It was said. Did people believe? Some people believed. But the point that the boss is there, the president is there. So even you guys want to say, let's speak about what Edgar Lungu didn't do right, what he didn't have the vision and all. It will not set out the matters that are important to the country as we move forward. Well, I can also punch you to the same level you're punching the PF. I can punch very hard on it. Because these things are there right now.
Okay, Monen. Okay, Machina Monen. You've asked two questions.
I'm a politician. My politicians, they come in different forms. You must understand. No, you talk with a vision. HH is just one person. He can't be everywhere. He has to run a government based on the system. He might have the best intentions. But the problem is that if he's not being told, boss, if it if the impact is ABCD, then you have people that are going, no, you are the Messiah. You are the Moses. It is wrong. Presidents don't become big-headed until we start to praise them for wrong things.
No.
I'm telling you.
No, that's not it.
Honest. We must be able to say,
you've asked two questions. Can I answer those two questions?
This was done right to wrong. This is how we think things can be done. That is the conversation I'm expecting. If you start hit on each other to say like other people didn't do well when they did their best, and you can't point to anything, you have to be reminded. Yes, but Daniel understand. He has never been to Zambia for a long time. So when you say what PF has done wrong, he doesn't know. He hasn't been there. So what will he say? Nothing. Until he goes there to see.
Okay. Can I answer the two questions? You asked two questions.
Yes.
And I want to answer them. Okay. One, you said, what has the PF done right?
What did the PF do right?
And what did they do wrong?
No. Our PF didn't do what they went wrong because I went to the UPND.
No, you asked the question.
Wrong? The question was, what did the PF do right? And what is the UPND doing wrong?
Okay. All right. Okay, you've changed it. Okay, no problem.
No, that's the way I changed it.
Or even if you've changed it, it's fine.
I didn't change.
No problem. So, what did the PF do right? One, the PF, we voted them into power because people believed in Michael Sata. That was one thing they did right. To have a leader like a Michael Sata. Okay? That's one thing. Secondly, they tried to masquerade and build infrastructure that was overpriced. But anyway, we still have that infrastructure. It's still there. It's good for the country.
It's breaking down.
Even though it was overpriced, but it's there. So those are the things that they did right. One, a good leader like Michael Sata. Secondly, overpriced infrastructures that are still standing. Now, what is the UPND doing right? We're bringing back the economy into its where it's supposed to be. That's what we're doing.
Question I didn't ask.
You don't like the answer.
Madam Moderator.
All right. Let me wear my big girl pants, as we always say over here. Let me wear my big girl pants. Okay, I'm gonna allow actually have a glass of water for right now. Let me bring in Deep Thinker. I'm pretty sure Deep Thinker has something to say.
Here's the issue I'm having.
Mm-hmm.
I have never been PF all my life.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. PS, you've been in UPND and you've been in PF. You're the right person to tell us
Yes.
what is it that you see that the
Yes.
PF did right,
Yes.
and what is it that you see UPND doing right? Because you are an insider. For
Yeah.
me, I'm an outsider.
Yeah.
So we can keep
Yeah.
talking and chasing our tails
Yeah.
around and around and around,
Yeah.
not until
Yeah.
you tell us what you saw in PF as having been done right, and then escape me to say PF could have done better if they did this, UPND could have done better if they did this. That's all I'm asking from the PS.
That is
As
one
an insider.
All right, now
deep thing
hold
that
on.
tears
Yeah,
I raised
hold on to those thoughts,
I will go.
Mr. PS, because
I
I
raised
also
my hand.
need. I'm also itching right now. My lips are moving.
No.
Nobody's seeing them. But here's what I think the PF. Here's what I think the PF did right. I think the PF did right in one telling all of us to shut up and then propagating on this tribal talk that's been going on forever. They did that right. Okay. Second thing, what did the PS did? I mean, I say that because I would say because I go to Zambia at least once a year. I'm going to Zambia at the end of the month, but I was in Zambia I think the year before and the year before that, but anyway, 4 years ago under PL, when I went to Zambia, I was in Kamala, and I think I've shared this story over and over on this platform. So I was in Kamala trying to buy a chitenge because we wanted to buy, make some outfits as women. And so we came out, I mean, we drove up there. We stopped at a store, and we came out, and it was me and my sister, the two of us talking. So we were using our normal native language because we miss using Tonga. So we were using Tonga in Kamala, and then from nowhere, now this is something I've never seen before. This one was this as we call them, they approached and fish land, blah 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 blah. It's a Tonga way, blah blah blah. So because some of us are who we are, we stood our ground because I've never seen anybody because I've been to Zambia multiple times, and I use Tonga when I'm conversing with my relative. I've never been approached by anybody, even including the Mwanwazi. But at that particular point, these Mwanwazi thought they were, they had all the powers, they could talk us down. But anyway, we stood our ground and we moved on. Now, there they did right. And now this is a conversation that we normally don't want to have, but I think it should be had. It should be had because I shudder to think about the little boys, the little Hakaindes, the little Mutintas that are growing in Southern Province now, or in part of Central Province. The psychic, what's gonna become of them when they are? I mean, these are things that we don't see now. Okay, but I think these things are going to manifest when they are adults because when you have an adult being abused in that way, they have to have an outlet. As singers, it's gonna come out. Zambians, we don't want to acknowledge that, but this is a real problem. So there, the PF did well. What else did the PF do well? I will tell you, the PF did well in building all these bridges in Lusaka only. Okay, and they'll tell you the price is this much when it shouldn't happen because guess what? Guess what? The same road or the highway, the dual carriageway they were going to build between Lusaka and Dola and beyond, the same road that would have costed under PF $1.2 billion is costing our new Don government $600 million. They did well there because they hoodwinked. And I mean, all the roads that they did in Lusaka, they were costing all these millions of dollars. I mean, you saw the road today. The road will be gone next day. They did that very well, okay? Because they let us know that okay, as I'm just we shouldn't live in the 60s. We can do better. They did well there. So, and what did the UPN do? The same road I'm talking about, the dollar kit, they are doing well. They are doing well. I mean, it's not like the agriculture sector is not being seen right now. I think without the drought, what the policies that they are putting through, they would have been the best policies ever. They are doing well because the farmers are taking their yields or their crops to the FRA today, and they're getting a payment in 5 days. They're doing that very well. Now I can go on and on and on, but then let me leave it. Let me leave the floor to our resident PF.
Okay. The question that the deep thinkers asked me is very cardinal, but I will get to the question to answer it very well. Now, I may have to bring a few things to your speed. And these are the things that I think have not been preached very well. Number one, when we talk about the PF having done infrastructure, it was not just in selected places, it is the entire country. Each of the provinces, there is one landmark infrastructure that is there in each of the provinces. There is. Yeah, there is. If you go into Western, I will run you through very well. If you go into Western Province, you're going to find the Mongo Kalabo Road, which is the gateway to Angola. That road is a marvel to watch, to see and to drive on. It had not been done from UNIP time. They started from Kalabo. They had done 10 meters. The moment they were getting to the floodplains, they abandoned the project.
May I interject for a second? Could you please talk about the PF after SATA?
Yes.
We all don't have issues with the SATA.
Yeah, because you see, because you see, what I'm trying to say is that when they say, oh, the PF just did this, the PF didn't change the party. It was just the leadership that changed. Maybe if you say under Edgar Lungu at camp, you saw Kazungula, you saw the Chiawa Bridge starting to be built there. You actually completed. You saw the way the hospital systems. They went so much into the health sector. The health sector, Petauke General Hospital, the Michael Chikwasata Hospital in Kasama, and just the linkages in terms of these main clinics that were done. A lot of them were done. High schools were done. There was quite a number of projects that were done. As to say they are overpriced, I don't know, because I've no comparison with the current government having to do a school to the same magnitude to see what it will cost. For instance, the Ndola dual carriageway which is being done, what were the specifications that took to 1.2 billion? Are they the same specifications that are being done now at 700 million? If the answer is the same specifications are being done at 700 million, the road was overpriced. I definitely agree. If the same specification, the same BOQ, which was used to actually say, okay, we arrive at 1.2 billion to go to Dola from Osaka, and the new donors come in and cut that cost and come to 700 million, I would be the first one to praise the new Don government on that kind of deduction. But I can assure you, the specifications have changed, and that is what has brought the cost down, because certain things have been removed from that project. It is just the truth. There was a road done in Maninga recently. which was supposed to be actually a model to reduce. Actually, it was just a small part of the road. The cost short term. So, in terms of what the PF did right, the infrastructure maybe they did right. Whether they overpriced it, yes, we can now have a conversation. If it was overpriced, what is the real price? Because you see, these are some of the discussions that derail us. If you say this was overpriced, what is the correct price? What have you done with the same kind of money? So that we know that, okay, this is the way you must be able to run things. For instance, you remember the fertilizer support program. It was that, oh, you are buying too much at it, 600, 700, at $1,000 per ton. When the new drone came, they were buying at 1,200. And that is what pretext for emergency procurement, where single sourced. So these are some of the things that for me, I see as a problem. Now, let me tell you what PF did. PF did right in terms of setting the base for infrastructure development. They did the best. They had the short-term measure, which was good for the country. UPND has done better. Why? UPND has come with a long-term plan for the country, whereby if we said we are going to use the base for the PF short-term success, and UPND building on the short-term to build the long-term success plan, we would have achieved a lot of headways. I was in PF, I was in UPND for at least a month before I was fired. So the same reporting system was there. So the same policy system was there. Nothing has changed in terms of how cabinet makes decisions, for instance. Nothing has changed in terms of how you do a policy which translates into the legal framework. It has not changed. So the basis for where I see the PF did well was for the short-term planning for the country, short-term successes, which was making the country sustainable and not quickly diving into the hunger system. UPN does come with a long-term sustainable plan, which they have, very good, debt restructuring. When you see these results, you're going to see them not today, but in future. But when now the conversation is supposed to be at supporting the UPND, maintain its long-term view so that we get to this level. What do? We get put back by now going to discuss the short-term failures. And when we discuss the short-term failures, we go after individuals. And what do you think when you go after individuals? You think they will just sit down and wait for you to go after them? They will now dig your debt as well. This is the debt that you are doing. Look at ABCD. Oh, look at, you are saying we are corrupt. What about Kakubu? What have you done to him? So the things, we change the narrative of the discussion. So for
no,
me,
the narrative, I mean, if we're going to bring in the issue of Kakubu.
The last one, moderator, you raised another issue in terms of the issues to do with what you experienced at Kamal. I have experienced that too as well. Now, for me, where the problem has been is that if you go into Northern Province, which most people in Zambia don't understand, between Mbala and Konde, where the UPND has members of parliament, the language between there and Bemba is like Rose and Bemba. Me, I'm Chandakazia. What do I suffer from? When I go to my father's side, who am I? I'm Bemba. When I go to my mother's side, who am I? I'm Mambwe. And there's a day and night scenario between Mambwe and Bemba. I can't speak Mambwe when I'm in Bemba. They will say, if I start speaking Mambwe, they are lost. So for me, I am a very serious advocate of stopping that crap called tribalism and things like that. And I don't like it when it is propagated by whoever. Because me, I have lived not far away. If you go to Southern Province from Northern, what do they say? I'm Bemba, isn't it? When the moment they hear you, they ramp you, then you are in that situation where now it is even worse. If you go to my father's land today, if I go with my wife who's Bemba, I have to interpret. It's like I've gone with you there. And the same divide that you see, you see it there. So why should I be one of those that propagate that kind of crap? It is wrong. But the point is that this government needed to stop it. They needed to stop it. They need to stop it, and they have a chance. The president, when he listened to his victory speech, then you would know whether he has changed or he hasn't changed, or whether things are going in the right way. When I heard the president pick out the victory speech and read it and tell the people that day, I was telling the colleagues and other permanent secretaries who were appointed by this year, You say, yes, I think maybe this might be a different trajectory that we're going to take. What happened later? All of us, 20 of us in one day out. Why were we fired? What did the personally I asked Danny the other question? What did I fire? What did I do wrong with the performance? Did I say anything? Was I attending PF rallies to say, okay, now is the civil servant finding himself in those areas? No. The question that, okay, thank you very much, because the president's strategic direction went out. Now there are people seated at the cabinet office. All of them out now. They are getting money for nothing. Is that the right way to go? Those are things that I was expecting my friends there, Danny, and to say this is wrong, we must move away from this. The PF at the cadres, it was wrong, bad. The cadres took over. They were beating people anyhow. And everyone has accepted that it was wrong. It will not make it right by me standing here and defending that, oh, no, the cadres were right, they were what? No, it was a mess. They messed the whole system up. Because even people that were clean have now been painted black because of the behavior of cadres. But we're expecting a different system to come and play. Now, what have we seen? You go there and pick a list of people that have been sent home. Everyone is complaining about that. Are we having a conversation that turns that round to say other people have been there 20 years? PF found them. They are directors. Now, because we have a different name, we are checked out. If PF was doing it, why should it be right to be done now? We must stop it, isn't it? Like, okay, wait a minute. This is the reason why you were kicked out, because we didn't want you to do ABCD. Now, when you come back here, check everyone out.
But Pierce, I think we're doing an overreach here when we say check everybody out, because we have. I mean, in the same vein. I mean, let's just put it out there. In the same vein, you have people like Given Muvinda. You have people like Emmanuel Mwamba, Harry, even the sixth president, come to the public and let us know they have their own people still within the the government system. So we cannot put up a blanket statement and say, oh, we are all being checked out. That's a little bit.
Okay. Let me probably maybe correct
No,
it. Maybe
I mean, I'm not going to go there, but that's where I see it. Because
let me correct
when
that.
you have, your own people that are saying, oh, we have our own people still running the system, and they're telling us all these things. I see here my Losi husband raising his hand. You want to come in, my Losi husband?
Yes, please. I just have a few things to comment here. When we talk about the projects that my friend Kazia has been talking about, Ngula Bridge and all that type of thing, these are things actually which actually what PF was doing wrong. The Kazungula Bridge is talking about was an understanding between Zimbabwe, Namibia, Botswana, 4 or 5 of us. All of us are supposed to be contributing money. The PF government got money from European Union, and they didn't even pay our share to the
100%. Yes.
And now, when it's being opened, they are there saying, "Oh, we built it." They stopped paying money for that.
Yes.
The rest of the countries were contributing, and Zambia was not.
Yes.
For that bridge. Let me continue. So PF cannot come out today and say, "Oh, we look at the Kazungula Bridge, or HH is going to open it today," because they were not contribute. The Zambia did not contribute.
They didn't. That story, I know it very correctly. Yes. I know it. What you're saying, but Danny, I agree with you. I know it. That story.
So they didn't contribute.
They stopped contributing.
Do you know which country came last in that deal?
Let's not go there. Let me finish. It's my turn to talk. It's my turn to talk.
Okay.
They go there and borrow money that they want to do hydropower thing. Okay. They went and got so much loans.
Where?
They in Kariba. Okay. They didn't. The Chinese people, once we came in power in 2021, the Chinese people were thanking the president openly to say this project would have been finished if we had a cooperating government. Thank you very much, sir. You have come in, and we have our part. And now we also have we are going to complete this hydropower thing. It was in an open ceremony.
No, I think you don't know very much about things that
Let me
happen.
finish.
No, it's in the public domain. Don't even go there. It's in the public domain.
Now, finance part of that document, and $120 million went there. What are you talking about?
The Chinese counterparts, when HH went there, he said, "Was it if you were there, this project would have been finished by 5 years ago." You know, listen. So I'm just checking my points here, and there's this one other thing which the PF UKA people are always talking about. Oh, bunga 50 kwacha, oh this and all that. They want to bunga to cost the way it was costing 2-3 years ago. Okay. In this world, there's what is called inflation. Every country undergoes inflation.
Who doesn't know that?
Yeah, let me finish. I wasn't interrupting when you were talking about Kasia.
Anyway,
so the thing is this. There are things that have affected our pricing of the commodities like fertilizers they're talking about, and what is that? There's war. This Russian war has really affected us a lot. Okay, a lot of things have been, affected by the Russia-Ukraine war. And then there's inflation, which and in Zambia is quite high. In Africa it's quite high. So there's no way we can expect cheaper prices than we were paying 2-3 years ago, as UKA and the PF are talking about. No, bring Ubunga. You found it at $17. Bring it at $17. It will not happen. Even here in Canada now, there's inflation. You can't fill that shopping cart nowadays with the $200 we used to do before. You need more money to do that. Inflation.
Right.
So next, they talk about Kakubo a lot. My brother Kakubo. Kakubo, before he became a minister, his family, they have private mines. They have small-scale mines on their own. He was selling one of his small-scale mine, the family mine. That's a private thing. So you can't bring in private business deals go wrong or something to say, oh, the government should prosecute him. He did a bad deal. He resigned as a minister, but he was selling his family private small-scale mine. He sold it to 2 people. So we can't bring in personal family things to say, oh, Kakubo did this.
And my lossy husband, just to add on, I know you're gonna come in. Let's just add on. Let's just let this simmer out there. We had a full cabinet minister accused of selling or buying expired drugs, who was going to the courts of law with the backing of chiefs. Let's just put it out there. He was never suspended. He was never fired.
He never resigned.
He never resigned. He was going to the courts of law in a government car with a flag in front of it, with traditional chiefs behind him. Let's just throw that out there. Go ahead.
Kakubo was decent enough to say, you know what, this is not good for a minister to be shown exchanging bundles of money and but that was a private thing in his family business. His family owns small business from Northwestern Province.
You share $200,000 cash.
Yes. Those are small scale miners. They have that type of money. So that's his family business. I know the Kakubo family myself. I'm telling you this. I know his young brother personally myself. I know they are rich people. So he was doing that. It was not good for him as a minister to do that. Of course, he resigned. He's okay. He's fine. He's a rich guy. Anyway, Eurobond. PF got Eurobond money. No accountability up to today. What happened to that money? 300 million euros. Where did it go? Nobody knows. So PF was doing a lot of wrong things. I don't know. That's why I say I have to scratch my head to know what was the right thing they did. And all these things, we can't stand here today and say, oh, no, they did this. They did. Everything, to me, everything they did was wrong. You can't have these boys now. By the way, people are buying these homes now, uncompleted homes in Lusaka. There's so many.
Yep.
All of them owned by who? Former PF cadres, because they were given, they were being paid, but every day intercity bus terminal was there to go and collect money and all this and all that. Now there's no more source of money. They're selling all these plots. I'm one of those beneficiaries of those plots in Silverest. So these are things we should call a spade a spade. We shouldn't sugarcoat it and say, oh, they did it right, they did this right. PF did nothing right for Zambia. And
Gentlemen, we are going almost 3 hours.
Yeah.
You know how we love to have an hour show, but of course, every day we go over it. I think we should really come into a close. I mean, it's unfortunate that due to network problems, I believe we couldn't get and load shedding in Zambia, we couldn't get Max Simoya. Hopefully, he'll be able to join us next week. So we really need, we need to be coming to a close.
Moderator.
Where we are. Yes, our resident PS.
Yes, before we go to the conclusion.
We can go on and on over here.
No,
Yeah, go ahead.
just maybe 2 minutes or 1 minute.
Go ahead.
You see, this is where the problem has always been in the conversations. And this is what brings us not to have a kind of conversation that brings what the course of government must be. Because look at what Dana's going ballistic right now. He's going ballistic about saying nothing has been done. Yes, we have because he hasn't been to Zambia. So he can go ballistic. And
I don't need to be in Zambia.
No. But PS, there you're wrong. Just because somebody hasn't been in Zambia doesn't mean they don't know what's going on.
But when you say nothing, you see, where I have a problem is where you say nothing. That I refuse, moderate. I refuse. Because every government will do one thing right. And then the rest of things other people pick up from there. But to come and start giving blanket statement and give half truths is not right. Because when you say no, people
all of them, everybody, we're all politics in here, so go ahead.
Mama, to come and justify corruption, which is there. And then you think that, okay, because if Ruka was going with a flag and it was wrong, is it right that Kakubo was doing it?
Kakubo was selling his family business.
No, he was selling, but you can't say,
the difference is that
you were talking about
resident peers, the difference is that Kakubo resigned or started to resign.
Yes.
Whereas
he needed to be investigated. First of all, he's still under investigation. We are still waiting to hear the findings from the anti-corruption commission.
So there hasn't been anything there. So we have to wait until that when that findings come out, then we'll talk about it. Let's not jump the gun.
I'll wait to talk about it because
we are here. We'll still talk about it.
These are some of the things that make government and make our progress as a country very difficult.
He resigned
because when you are in power, you start to cut shortcuts and you start to hide in the incumbency. You can't be doing wrong things in the name of the incumbency. It doesn't work because this is what treats others to say, oh, Kakuwali Sendele 5 with $200,000 deal is making it is a family deal. Then what will stop another person who is minister to $1 million, which is not going to
but Pierce, you've been forgotten. We have a minister of Northern Province who was fired. What is his name again? Chingandu, whatever his name.
No,
he was fired.
He was fired.
Yeah. He was fired. But you tell me under PF which minister was fired.
Oh,
you tell me.
Was fired.
No, I mean after the fact.
Yeah, but you asked me a question to say who was fired, and I'm giving you one right
You understand?
But we still have none. Kakubo resigned. I mean, pretty much the president just told him, I can fire you or just resign. And he resigned. That's one. We have the Northern Province and the PS and those were fired once it was discovered whatever was going on in the Sigiloid in the Northern Province, and a whole lot. So anyway, all I'm saying is, gentlemen, we can go on and on and on.
I know.
Yeah. So let's put a footnote to this discussion today. We'll be back next week. I'm pretty sure we have a lot.
There'll be more PF headlines.
Yes, absolutely. So there'll be more PF. I mean, the one PF headline that I wanted to talk about is.
I want us to include Ukwa.
That's where I was coming to. You have GPM.
I want to include the future of Ukwa.
You see.
Uka.
I think we need to include a lot of things now, because I think I'm getting a lot of this to say. Okay, we need to include a lot of discussions on these things.
Yes.
And I agree.
I want the thing I want to discuss. I would be suggesting this. I want to look at the general conditions, or I mean the general picture of opposition in Zambia. For now, for me as UPND, I don't see an opposition right now.
Yeah, but Malosi has been. Yeah, Malosi has been. Yeah, we are a Democrat. We are all Democrats here.
We need this credible. We need credible. But there's nothing.
Checks and balances. We need credible checks and balances.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. So I mean,
every day.
Yes, yeah, we need proper checks and balances.
Condemn every time is that because any time. So how would you expect other people to appreciate you?
No.
That's
not the way it works. As when we're giving ama checks and balances, we're even giving you solutions.
We're giving solutions for how
but solutions. Nobody's coming up.
No one has
The president came and told you, I have a solution on how to structure the deal.
Yes.
On top of your lungs.
Yeah, I mean, once even came on and said, no, he doesn't know what kind of economics. Antonio Mwanza, he came in and said, no, I don't know what kind of economics he's learning at UNSA. But me as an economist, he can't do it all by himself. Look at him there. Look at him now. It's very complex. Look at him now.
Yeah. And the journalist, if I was a journalist, I would go to in his face with the camera and say, hey, Antonio Mwanza, tell us now about debt structuring.
Antonio Mwanza, as a journalist myself, is just lucky I'm not in Zambia right now. But anyway, let's just conclude here, gentlemen. I'll give each one of you at least a minute to gather your thoughts. Let's start with you, Malosi husband. Then we go to the resident peers, and then of course the deep things. Because I love the way he summarizes everything, and of course BantuTV, and then it's a wrap in that order.
To me, I like these discussions, especially when we spice it up with someone like Chandagazia, because we have a different perspective of how, other than having a one-sided type of discussion, we have sort of a balanced discussion from how Zambians, because there are definitely two groups of Zambians, those that are
correct
current government and those that are not. So it's very important that we include people that like Kazia, especially with his experience in the government. And yeah, it's a very good thing for us to be doing this. So,
that's why we call him our resident PS.
Yes. So I hope he can also have somebody else on his side so that it will be balanced.
Our resident bring us PS, bring somebody else.
Yes.
This is an open forum.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
We talk with respect here and everything else. I mean, we argue and argue, but we'll always have respect burner behind it all. All right. Sorry. Now, shall we go to our we lost him. What happened to the dog? I hope he comes back and finalizes his thoughts on this discussion. Let's go on to how about here is, I think that's the dog. Our resident PS coming back. What, we lost him again? All right, we lost him. All right, let's go to our resident Dip Thinker. Your thoughts, your final thoughts before we wind up this discussion today.
So this is a very, very good forum where ideas are exchanged and where we enlighten each other about the country we love a lot, Zambia. So what I'm hearing from each one of us is the passion for the country. We all want the country to do well. We want the country to be self-sufficient. We want development in our countries. So I just have one or two questions for the resident PS.
Oh, there goes the Dip Thinker. Go ahead, Dip Thinker.
So the first question to him is that if Zambia is not like Burger King where you pick and choose, you only have PS.
Hold on. There's a noise in the background. Can we?
If you're not talking, please mute yourself.
Yes, please. If you're not talking, mute yourself. There's a little background noise here. Oh, great. Go ahead, Dip Thinker.
So I was asking the PS if this is not Burger King where you pick and choose, you have PF and UPND as a leader, because when you become PS, you're a leader at that point. As a leader in Zambia and as a Zambian who loves the country, which of the two parties would you prefer to run the government? Is it PF under Edgar Lungu or UPND under Hakainde Hichilema? That's the first question. The second question to the PS is, why is it that when these cases come to the courts of law, people are looking at, why aren't you doing that to that? Why aren't you doing that to that? As if we're justifying crime as a culture. Why don't we just go through the process of in the courts of law and then get exonerated or get convicted based on the crime that you committed? And then you can sue the government if they are not prosecuting UPND members. To say, if the madam moderator and myself are speeding on the highway and I get stopped, I cannot say, well, the moderator is speeding too. No, I'm stopped and I have to pay the ticket. Why don't we just go to court and go through the process and turn around and sue the government if you think it's unfair? That's why I stop.
All right. We will let the resident PS answer those two questions and his final thoughts on tonight's discussion.
Sorry,
go ahead.
I missed the question. What was the question?
All right, go ahead. Dip Thinker, repeat your questions to the PS. Dip Thinker. All right. Now I'll summarize his questions. So the Deep Thinker wants to know, one, from your vintage viewpoint, with the way our government systems are, like at the current moment, who do you prefer to run the affairs of the country between PF and UPND? That was his first question. And then the second question.
Zambian people. I'm sorry.
Oh, there you go.
Of the Zambian people.
All right, go ahead, Deep Think. Ask your question because I was just summarizing. Go ahead.
So, as a servant of Zambian people, because when you get to be a PS, that's a position of responsibility where
Yep.
you have to make decisions for millions and millions of Zambians. So, which one would you rather run the government right now if you had the magic wand and it's up to you? That's the first question. The second question, why is it that we always go back and say, well, you're not prosecuting that one, you're not prosecuting that one, as if crime is the culture of the country? Why don't you just take responsibility for what you did, what you're doing that has made you appear before a judge? And then after you've been convicted or exonerated, you can sue the government and say, the same thing you took me to court, that's what he's doing or she's doing. Why aren't you prosecuting that one?
Wow. Deep think I have very tough questions. That's the problem. You have very, very tough questions. Now, I'll answer this way. You see, the problem is that I was only given an opportunity to be permanent secretary by one person. I didn't serve two presidents so that I can have maybe a way that if I guide, my guidance is heard. I have spoken to my friends that maybe me at personal level, because first of all, when I was appointed as permanent secretary, I had never met the president. I had never met the president one on one. No. I was identified through the structures and the system that I was going to be a better candidate as permanent secretary in the Ministry of Labor and Social Security. And graciously, President Edgar Lungu gave me the opportunity to be permanent secretary. And when I was permanent secretary, there was no one day, I would be lying if I said I was ever interfered with in my work as permanent secretary in the Ministry of Labor and Social Security. I would be lying because I ran the ministry in the best professional manner I understood, and in the best professional manner I was trained. So if you give me a scale of 1 or 2, maybe say, would I say I should be to run by President HH? I would say no, because President HH didn't give me an opportunity to say, okay, you are PS, let me see what you can do. If you fail, I check you out. I'll have no problem. So right now, if you ask me, I will say I will go with President ACL. Indeed, any other president who would be there and giving me an opportunity to run and save the Zambian people. But if you are giving me a choice between ECL and President HH, it would be very difficult for me to go with President HH because I don't know how he's running systems right now. There are certain things I say, but the president should have been advised here. Why didn't the president? How can the president go and give a CNN interview with wrong facts? Why did we give him wrong facts? You see, I'm saying, why did we give him? I'm now putting myself there as permanent secretary, advising him that why didn't we give him the right facts? So you see from that point of view that when I was given a chance, I think I did well, I performed well. But I was never given a chance by another person. And he has his own reasons why he didn't do that, and I wouldn't want to go into that. Then, the second question that you've asked me is
May I take you back to the first
yes, please.
question?
Yes.
Can we take the emotions out of being fired or anything just based on performance?
No, okay.
Take all the emotions out because as a leader, as a
Mhm,
PS who presides over issues
mhm,
of millions of people in Zambia,
mhm.
you don't have the luxury to say, well, he fired me, so I don't like him, or he did. No, no,
No,
no,
no,
no.
no,
We're not
no,
doing that.
no.
We just want to, based on performance. You like the person or you don't, based on performance only,
Okay.
because
Deep
that's
thinker.
what the Zambian people want. That's what they care for.
I think I would save. I would not choose. I would save both in that circumstance. I would save both presidents if given a chance, because you see, when you are saving the Zambian people, of course, yes, there's something, but maybe you didn't see me to be performing. Why was I fired and stuff like that? There's always that at the back of your mind. But when you say that beyond being professional, you do not, you save the presidency. You don't save the individual. So when you are appointed to permanent secretary position, it is not about the person sitting in that office as president. It is the presidency that you serve. So when you advise, you don't advise. For instance, you can't advise HH. No, you advise the presidency. That's why when you are appointed by ECL, when HH comes in, he is your president. So every time that you work, you have to make the best decisions that makes him look good all the time and anytime. You can't say anything against him. You understand? So I would work with both presidents. Only
There
that
can be only
the
one
other one is
president,
going to
Mr.
decide
PS.
to work. It's very difficult to say, oh, this one or this one, because you serve the president. You get the policy, run with the policy, implement his policy. You advise the best way to implement his policy. So that is the first one. Then the second one that you asked me to say, why is it that people want to go? You know, there is also, I have seen this happen more times than often. Politicians don't listen. You understand? Politicians don't listen when they are coming into power unless they find a very strong civil servant and a strong system that will kaput them in a certain way, where you tell them, no, this is not your responsibility. For instance, right now, you would see that my minister Joyce on the Simukoko MP, there is nowhere where you can say, oh, she was scandalous in this. Why? Because we knew the difference that no, minister, this is not your call. Here you can't make the decision. It is not your responsibility. This is like the standing orders say that you can't do this. The standing orders say you can't go there. The standing orders say you
Hold
can't
on.
do ABCD. So those are some of the things. When they don't listen until we change the law, that should be able to stop them in the tracks before they commit crime.
Wonderful.
I think my question was not answered.
What was it?
Me, yeah, me too. Let's just move on right now. Back to Sophia.
You may need to guide me more specific, probably.
Let's just move on.
We've discussed so many things tonight, and I
Mm.
think we need to consolidate everything to the main thing, which is the beautiful thing that happened in terms of the debt restructuring. So you know, it's a good thing for the Zambian people. And no matter how you look at it, or no matter how you looking at it from an opposition point, it's an advantage for each and every Zambian. So everybody will be able to have at least a decent conversation and be relaxed. You know, sometimes now on a personal level, you've got credit, you owe somebody money. But if you're able to sit down and conversate and say, oh, no problem, let's do this in the next 10 years, that's good. So at least now you can take them to school in ABCD. That's what we want to hear. Yeah, you know, he has worked. I do not think Big Eddie could have done this, to be honest. If I had, the way I know him, no. He wouldn't have done it.
All right.
But anyway,
all right.
that's my thought. That's my feeling, and that's it.
Yeah, you know, and you definitely are entitled to those thoughts. You know, and the thing for me, the job tonight is just to say, it's been a spirited conversation, which I love having spirited conversations when it comes to our great nation of Zambia, and hopefully this conversation will continue, and hopefully we get more people to join in, and you know, share that. You don't have to be an expert. Your expert is just being Zambian and seeing the thing that unravel be before us. Okay, so until next week, I guess we adjusted this week's start time to 3 p.m. because, as you can see, Arsenal was playing today, so we couldn't. Some of us couldn't make it at 2 o'clock.
There we go
And
again.
yeah,
There we go again.
I know. So yes,
These invitations, I sometimes miss them. Where do you send them? You put them on Facebook?
Oh, well, I guess maybe we need to get you onto
Because I
our
don't get.
literature.
Yeah.
Yeah, we should put you on our. I think you and because yeah, but you say let's put them on to the our little WhatsApp Bantu TV WhatsApp.
Yep.
How
Yeah,
about
yeah.
that?
We're
Yeah,
going to
yeah.
invite you.
That way, yeah.
We're going to
That way
invite you, and then you can see all the updates.
yeah, you can get the invitation.
Because today
And also
I would have missed.
like our Bantu TV page, we're trying to grow the page there.
All right.
And yeah, it's that's another avenue. But I think going forward, let's do that. And on that note, gentlemen, you have absolutely. I mean, I came on a zing energy because of the results with Manchester, as I always call them. But it was a
Hey,
wonderful.
Draw
It
was
was
a
it
win.
was a wonderful game, brilliant game.
The draw was a win for Arsenal.
Yes, Pep God, I couldn't even believe it. But thanks to Arteta, what is the song I always love to sing? London, love London forever, whatever the weather. All right, we live there. I try to be silly sometime, but until the next time next week, 2 p.m. Keep the faith, viewers, and like our page and comment.
Good night. Good night.